What's up, everybody? Sorry about that. What is up, everyone out there in YouTube land? How are you guys doing today? It's been a minute. I've been have not done a show since before Christmas. That was more or less planned. Probably could have done a little bit better scheduling, I guess, but. This is kind of how it was planned. This is what was going to happen all along. I have a lot of stuff going on, and to be honest with you, it's it's been it's a long holiday season. So it is what it is. What's up, TVT? Good to see you, my man. Good to see you. What's up, Vibe? What's up, man? Yeah, the studio rocks, man. I forgot to turn on some lights, so give me a second. I almost forgot that. Yeah, it's all part of the, I got to use the same studio for, I don't have to, but I am using the same studio for Gun Prattle, which is my new channel, which we soft launched earlier. But there we go. Now we're cooking with gas. All right, cool. And I've just been busy as all hell anyway between Christmas. My mom's been in the hospital. My wife is in China currently. She's on an Asian tour. She's going to be in China. She's been in Shanghai, I think, for the next few days, and in Beijing, and then Seoul, Korea, and then Tokyo. So she's a traveling person right now. My eldest son and my wife are traveling all over the place. So we're going to have everything set, ready to go here shortly. As far as the new channel goes, the way nothing will really change with the day shift, except I might start doing it every day starting at the first of the year. Versus three times a week or twice a week, I guess, what I've been doing. I don't know if we're going to go 3 times a week or 5 times a week. We'll see. The news has just been lit, and I think coming into the election year, it's going to be worthwhile to do it. Yes, please go vote for me in the Streamer of the Year sort of contest. I don't think I'm doing particularly well this time. I haven't had time to pay attention to it. Looks like I am narrowly losing out to Marathon Kev. We can do better than that. And I'm not too far behind Dusty. So let's get some votes in, and we'll make it happen, Captain. So yeah, I just popped over there, TVT. Thanks for reminding me about that. All right, ladies and gentlemen, a couple of things. I'm not sure up until next week. Next week, everything kind of goes back to normal. But up until that next week, it's unclear to me what the show schedule is going to look like. I was able to do today. I'm pretty sure I can do Wednesday. I'm not sure about tomorrow. We'll just have to play it by ear. Got to get those notifications. You got to subscribe. You got to do all the things. All right. By the way, I know that I don't say this enough. I get, my staff has problems with me because I don't say this enough. But as always, please like, subscribe, and send in those donos, man. The donos play well. All right. So basically, we're going to talk about today. We've got a lot of stuff. I mean, it's just a ton of stuff to cover that's in the news. I'm going to save this Minnesota thing because I know everybody expects me to be talking about it, and I will, I promise. But before I get into that, I want to talk about the Epstein Files release. We've all been paying attention to it. They've now released over 11,000 documents. They did that on December 23rd, a couple of days before Christmas. What a Christmas present for everyone it was. Now, Now, these documents cover a lot of different things. There's mentions of Trump, the efforts to interview Prince Andrew. However, over 1 million additional potential documents have since been discovered, supposedly, which is delaying the full release by several weeks. What was released was, once again, heavily redacted. Now, they weren't supposed to redact it, I don't think. However, there's laws here that we're playing with that kind of supersede even the order to release it, in that if there are active cases, and especially active cases involving people who are or were minors at the time, you cannot, you can't release that information publicly. You just can't. There are laws against that, and so they haven't been able to get around that, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on which side you're on. It would be great to kind of get around it, but at the same time, what can we really do? So, now, what we know is fact. What we know is facts that are provable is that the redactions in the release files, obviously, they have complied with the new federal law, except for the redactions. And there are no new criminal charges announced yet. Now, obviously, a lot of conjecture out there and speculation revolves around all of these political figures. I believe Bill Clinton is more heavily mentioned in these documents than previously thought. And there's just a lot of, it's just a lot of stupid stuff that we already knew. What's interesting is I don't think this is news to anyone. I really don't. I don't believe that anyone woke up December 23rd, later in the day, they released the files and you go, oh shit, I didn't know that. We all knew this. It's not, none of this stuff has been light shedding at all. Obviously, there was political motivation for delays. Biden's administration never even mentioned, even one time, releasing anything because they knew who was in it. They did not want to involve those elites, if you will. And then there's all of these unverified and yet persistent claims of deeper conspiracy, of deeper, of all of these conspiracy theories have been amplified and amplified again. Obviously, the rhetoric is amplifying all the partisan blame and suspicion. But again, as of today, there's no evidence that ties the current administration, any of them, directly to suppression of any of this. You can say that, yeah, they made some stupid mistakes because they probably should have released this or done that or whatever. I feel like that, yeah, you can say, yeah, sure, it's they could have done things better. Maybe they got some bad information. Maybe they didn't. I don't know. It doesn't matter. But what's provable is that there's no evidence that ties the current administration directly to suppression. Now, unfortunately, we'll never know in Biden's administration because that all of that, like, none of that stuff's real. Like, the whole entire Biden administration was just fucking. We may never know. We may never know. All right. At any rate, the partial release proves, doesn't prove. It provides new details on Epstein's network. It's fueling all of the speculation. It's been around since the beginning. Full disclosure could possibly clarify things now, but I just don't think it will. I think the rhetoric is too strong. I think that people are too. We have become very programmed that when we get an Epstein file release, the left goes, "Aha, got you," and the right goes, "Aha, got you," and nobody's got anybody. Unfortunately. But the interesting thing is that, and we're going to tie this into the Minnesota fraud. The interesting thing to me, anyway, is the fact that we have, this is now verifiable that these bad actors have been manipulating things since day one. And now we've, you know, especially in the Biden admin, and even back in Obama's, you know, this all started in Obama's house anyway. So it just seems like that the most amount of manipulation comes when the left is involved. And we're seeing that with Minnesota. You're right, TVT. We're going to get to that. I promise you. Promise you. Let's see what else is out there for today. I mean, obviously, we've got the peace talks going on. Zelensky met with Trump at Mar-a-Lago. Mar-a-Lago, as we all know, is only worth $1 billion. It's not worth, or whatever it is, whatever the bank said it is. It's actually it's worth $8 million. It's not worth anything. I would love to buy it for $8 million because I'd sell that thing a hot minute. Obviously, Zelensky is being Zelensky's. He has no interest in ending this war. Yeah, and there's a lot of tie-ins here. We've got the airstrikes in Nigeria against the ISIS camps. We're swinging a big stick around the world right now. We're targeting Venezuelan ships for debts. We're targeting Venezuela itself for the drug trade that is funding the terrorism against the United States and other countries. We're going after all these people hardcore. Whether you agree with it or not, that is the reality. The reality is that we're swinging a big stick right now, and to be honest with you, it's actually getting it's getting pretty cool. Yes, that's correct. Mr. is right. You are absolutely 100%. The new debt ceiling bill is in January. I believe it is January the 14th. I could be wrong about that. So here comes Zelensky begging on his knees for more money. Rubio said F you to the UN. That's true. The UK leader has threatened to cash all U.S. bonds. That's why the meeting happened. I mean, if the UK, you know, look, that would hurt the UK as much as it would the US. And it's one of those I double dog dare you stances that we got. So next up, the next thing that's, you know, I find interesting, you guys may not, is this pipe bomb suspect, the security concerns, you know, all of these things. We have all right, so the FBI arrested this guy back in January, right? And he had, pardon me, not in January. It was later in the year. I forget when anyway. So anyway, he's linked to the J6 pipe bomb case, and you know, allegedly targeted U.S. political parties. This guy's turned out to be more or less a plant, if you will. I'm waiting to see on this one, right? The left is trying to frame this as this guy actually was, this guy was actually kind of like a lone wolf, like he went rogue. He wasn't, you know, even though he was a CIA contractor or whatever, he wasn't acting in that. I don't think that's true. I don't think that's right. Let's see what we got here. Do I believe this autistic black guy literally living in his mom's basement did this? I mean, really? No, I don't. All right. So Trump is finishing the revolution against UK. Everything America is fighting around the world, especially Ukraine and Russia. The EU wants to keep the war going. I think that's true. I think the EU is using this in a couple of different ways, financial and for clout. I mean, they're clout chasing just like a fucking YouTuber. At Dented Fridge, TVT makes jokes about Trump being some great leader. This has got to be Anson Knowles. Welcome. If that is you, Anson, welcome back, my friend. Good to see you in the chat. And now we've got to get into. Now I don't want to hit Minnesota yet. Look, I got some other stuff here. So we've got a lot. Again, this is going to lead into the Minnesota thing. I promise I'm going to tie it together. We have a lot of anti-poverty, social safety net programs out there that are getting cut. And people are screaming about this. Literally screaming about it. And the biggest problem is you have states like California, for example, that a big chunk of their economy is based on getting this federal money in the form of all of these grants and programs and financial aid for these people. A big chunk of their economy is based on this, right? And so without it, if Trump says, no, we're going to cut that, that's a huge amount of money out of California's budget. And it's going to cause volatility in the market. It just is, right? Now, the left always advocates for no cuts. They decry the cuts. They're, oh, no, you can't cut. Oh, no. They say it's harmful to vulnerable populations. I'm not really sure what that is, but that's fine. Hey, we got raided. What's up, man? I'm sorry, I wasn't really paying attention. I do apologize. We got raided. Mr. Miss says, do you think this? Let me see where. Do you think them gutting fraud has contributed to this 4+ GDP? Let me come back to that because I'm not sure that I understand your question, but that's fine. All right, so back to where I was. I'm sorry I missed the raid coming in. Thank you for coming in and raiding. It looks like Bill did that, which is awesome. Mr. Bill, thank you, sir. So again, the left just cries, whines, complains, all of that stuff because this is harmful, hurts people. Obviously, California is pissed because it's going to be a big chunk out of their economy. They cry that it exacerbates inequality. I'm not really sure what inequality they're talking about, but they say that by these cuts somehow cause problems, right? And it makes the inequality worse. I'm not really sure. On the right, as always, we argue for efficiency. We want better outcomes through reforms. We want, spend. It's not necessarily we want to spend less money, but we want to spend the money we're spending better and more efficient. We want accountability. I know it's scary. We want accountability. We want to know where the money goes, and we're going to find out why in just a few minutes. And we promise better outcomes through those reforms. And, federal bridge payments or bridge loans for farmers. That's a way that the people who need the help get the money, and the people that are taking advantage of the system have a much harder time of taking advantage of the system. That's a problem that we have. We really have this problem. I'm not making this up. This is a real thing. When you go back and you look at all of the stuff that Doge and all of these things, all of these agencies have in common is they run from the light of truth. They don't ever want to, they never, ever, ever want to be held accountable for the dollar amounts that they're spending. And that should be your first clue that something is rotten in Denmark. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So now the reductions in these social programs, obviously, a lot of people debate on those. If it's equity versus financial or fiscal responsibility, immediate impacts on low-income communities versus long-term success of vital programs that are failing currently. And so all of these things lead me to the topic everybody wants to talk about, and that is the Minnesota fraud scandal. Now, I had a debate just a couple of weeks ago. I had a debate on this very subject, and I said back then that sure, I'm positive that the average 67 IQ Somali was not defrauding the government. He's just not smart enough. But there are people, and it requires people in government, and it requires people, community leaders, whatever you want, whatever those are. It requires a number of people to fleece the system. And the average Somali 67 IQ dumb fuck or cousin fucker, whatever you want to call him, that the average Somali gets butkus, zero, zilch, still living in squalor, still poor as fuck. They probably have it better than they did in Somalia, so they think they got it going on, while these 20, 50, 100 people, however many people are involved at the cream level, the cream rises to the top, and that's where it is. And that's what's happening. You are seeing pennies actually go to the people that this money is earmarked for, or never even reach the people at all because it's all fake. Now, I don't know if you've watched Nick Shirley's videos. If you haven't, fucking go watch them. They're badass. And he gets a list that's public record. He's not breaking any laws here. He gets a list that has where this money goes. He goes to these places, and what he finds and documents on video is incredible. Incredible. He goes to this daycare, the best example. He goes to this daycare that's in a facility where there's a daycare, there's a disadvantaged, underemployment center, like these guys that can't get a good enough job, adult help, and all that kind of shit. He goes to this, and this is a complex that has been built to fleece you, the taxpayer. They're taking money directly out of your pocket. And this is what they do. They rent a big-ass building. They put 20 or however many of these offices in there. There were 3 daycares with 0 children. 3 daycares. There was an adult learning center, at least 1, maybe 2, 0 people there. All of these little agencies or offices for these people who are these companies, businesses, whatever you want to call them, all of these are receiving federal aid in the millions of dollars. I believe the daycare got $2.6 million. Somebody fact check me on that. It was $2.6 million for these daycares that had no kids. There were no kids there. None. And there were like 3 in this one complex. So this is a machine. So listen, I get it. Mr. That's not the one that's disturbing. What's disturbing is this is a machine that is built to steal money from you, and me and every other taxpayer from a federal government. It is a machine that's meant to do that. They go in, they have a physical location. There it is. They have an inspector come out. Yep, that looks like that could possibly be a daycare. They file all the paperwork. They get the shit rubber stamped, and then they're getting millions of dollars of yours and my money. This is a machine that is meant to steal from you. I'm not surprised they were sending money to other candidates. I'm not surprised at anything. The thing that's offensive to me beyond the taxes, the theft of my tax dollars, that gets me. You guys all know that just gets me going. $4 million in state funds, perfect. What really gets me is that these programs, in theory, provide things that you and I want. You and I want nutrition for little kids, right? We want, if children can't actually get milk and eggs and meat, we want them to go get something, right? We want them to be able to go get it. Now, I don't agree with the way they're doing it, but I want them to go get. I want that to happen. I think the churches should handle it. We'd have a lot less fraud. We're going to get into that in a minute. But what's offensive, what's truly offensive, is they are targeting child nutrition, child care, feeding our future, which is a child nutrition program. And they're scamming Medicaid. They're scamming pandemic aid programs. All of this. It is offensive. It is offensive. There should literally be, you know how, and look, I'm not calling for violence here. YouTube, don't get your panties in a wad. If we handled this like we handled when the floods happened down in Florida or Texas or Louisiana, and you got the Cajun Navy going down there, and you've got like all the churches in my area, you'll see them rolling down the highway. Most of the churches in my area have disaster response units ready to go. I mean, they've got pallets of water, they got blankets, they've got like mini dozers and little tiny track hose and shit. When this kind of thing happens, there should be a citizens response unit that has a line of pickup trucks and rednecks heading up there to take care of it. Because this is the kind of thing that people truly deserve what they get. Because they're stealing money from taxpayers. You and me. And we're not even talking about wasting money. I'm not even getting into the waste. I'm not even talking about the roads that don't go anywhere and the project, the city beautification projects that take 10 years, all of that. I'm talking about the actual theft of money, tax dollars, dinero from you and me. I mean, not TVT. He's Canadian. He's got his own problems. But the rest of us should be livid. The rest of us should literally be wondering when the ass whooping is being handed out. Right? That's what we should be wondering. We should be wondering, well, when are these people going to prison? When are these people going to prison? When's the ass whooping getting handed out? That's what I'm wondering. That's all I'm wondering right now. I don't even care about anything else. Nick Shirley doesn't have to make another damn video. All I want is When are these people going to prison? That's all I want to know. When are the ass whoopings handed out? That's all I want to know. Seems fair, right? I missed something that was important, but wouldn't the Minnesota fraud be state funds, not federal? Maybe, but probably not. And this is why. So what happens is that you have a program that is federally backed or federally funded, but state run. You understand? That's what I'm saying. So like Medicaid, mostly state. But a lot of these other programs, there's a amount of federal money that's put in to help fund this, to bridge the whatever shortcomings the state has. And so it's my tax dollars, it's Mr. Mister's tax dollars, it's all of these other people's tax dollars, except yours, TVT. I know. Hey, Black Frog. That's right. I want to give a shout out. My local range has reopened. I almost bought it. It's been bought by a company called Black Frog. I'm wearing their. I don't know if it'll. Oh, wrong sleeve. Oh, here we go. Black Frog arms. Can I roll it over there? Black Frog arms. Super cool guys. I became a member over there. Well, I was a member there before. I'm a member there again. It's just a different company. Love the range. Range is awesome. If you're anywhere near my town and need to go do some shooting, go shoot there because they're awesome. And I shot there today. I was there. Of course, I'm in match prep. I'm in match prep mode, so I shoot 4 times a week. Hey, Wiggins, thanks, man. I appreciate that. When I'm in match prep mode, I shoot 3 to 4 times a week, 200 rounds a day. I shot about 250 today. My accuracy's good, speed's good. Just dialing in ammo right now. Got a lot of stuff. So TVT, the problem is that all Doge saw is this is actually kind of where they needed Waltz. Because what all Doge sees is all of his money going into these programs that all look legit, and Walls it's all state administered, right? So it's federally funded, state administered, state controlled. So that's what's up. That's how they'd meet it. Wiggins, who said Black Frog for the win. Yep, love those. Yeah, good to meet you as well. You were one of you're doing a podcast too now, right? I think he's doing a podcast now. Yeah, all your Canadian money is going to Ukraine anyway. You guys are about to be brokering the joke up there in Canada land. But yeah, so everybody should be really angry about this Minnesota thing. And just, and I've heard this referred to as industrial scale. You just heard me call it a machine. It is a machine. I know who you are. Awesome, Wiggins. I like you. I meant to actually call you the other day. Yeah, absolutely. But I consider this, I mean, again, I've heard this referred to in the press as industrial scale scamming. This is a machine that's been built or was built to literally just suck money out of taxpayer wallets, and it needs to be stopped. It really has to be stopped. I hope the ass whoopings get handed out fairly and broadly. So that's what's up. And again, there's $9 billion in fraudulent billings across 14 Medicaid services, $250 million from Feeding Our Future alone. Again, that's a program that originally is designed to feed kids. Something that I guarantee you there's nobody in my chat right now that has a problem with throwing a few bucks to feed kids. But I have a real problem when people are taking that money to feed kids and it never goes to them. Not $1. Not one. Now they have charged people. I believe it's in the dozens now. I haven't been keeping up, but I believe there are dozens, and there's a lot of people being charged. Originally, I think they were like, when I did the debate a couple of weeks ago about this, I think that they were basically saying that it was only like 10 guys or something. I remember the debate when I was, basically destroying them single-handedly, but it was fine. All right. So again, you've got, there's a, they were also basically saying that they were attracting tourists to exploit a lack of oversight. So basically they could claim that these tourists were there and then gain tax dollars from that. So now, as of current, now I don't, again, information's been trickling out. Kash Patel has, obviously he's throwing down the investigation after investigation. They've tied this all the way back to SBA COVID funding, right? And a bunch of the lending, especially to the immigrant communities, again, particularly the Somalian-run businesses. Again, I said that in the debate a couple of weeks ago, and I was right. It was 100%. Yeah, I'll pin the link. Give me a sec. Where's my button here? I'm just not very well prepared. There we go. Oh, wrong button. Oh, hang on. I got to change. Please stand by, folks. I'm having a moment. I got to switch accounts to do that. They claim to be so much smarter than us, but can't figure out how. Yeah, well, that's true. But right now, my true issue is pinned. Let me back up a second. I missed something. I want to make sure I don't. All right. So Seth Spence, welcome, buddy. Says, fuck those college kids taking out loans that want the public that didn't go to college pay for it. Agree with you on that. They claim to be so much smarter than us, but can't figure out how to pay the fucking debt off. I kind of agree with that. That's less of a point. Right. I think this is where everybody in the audience is at. Everybody watches this video. They can watch this video in 10 years. They're going to have the same reaction. Got no problem with kids getting fed. I want kids to get fed. I absolutely prefer that kids get fed. However, it's got to be oversight. It's got to really be happening, guys. You can't lie to us and say that it is. And that's bad. Was that on a debate panel? Was that a Gibbs panel? Yes, it was on Gibbs panel. It was 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, something like that. It was the last one before Christmas. And basically, I maintained throughout the whole thing that there was no way, that obviously you can't trust the cousin fuckers. It pulls down the IQ and it shows them to be of low moral character. And so I didn't care anything about that. Nobody really wanted to engage with the real topics of, they basically just wanted to say that a white woman was charged as administering it, and Waltz might be involved, and all these white people are involved. And of course, that's true. Obviously, that's true. I said back then, I said, you probably have 10 people, max 100, that are actually involved in this and getting paid on any real level. Everybody, all the Somalis are patsies that are being used. Why else import a bunch of cousin fuckers who have literally 67 average IQ? Do you understand? I don't have a problem bringing over people from countries that add something to America, that there's something in America that we need. We need people that can play violin really well, or we need people that can build fucking buildings, or we need people that can program computers like nobody else. Okay, sure. You can make that case all day. I'm there with you. One of my favorite people in motorsports back when I was racing, one of my absolute favorite people was this guy from the UK, and he he came over here and he was wonderful at building race cars and understanding and developing race cars. And so we need those people. I don't have a problem with those people coming over. But when you are importing people with an average IQ of 67, okay, 67, that's a couple of points above being able to tie your shoes and understand not to put your hand in boiling water. Okay, let's just face the reality. That's what it is. It's not somebody. It's not somebody that is going to be beneficial to our society. It just isn't. Now you can say, well, they'll work the low wage jobs. They'll do this. They'll do that. No, they don't. And we've proven that they don't. Now, one of the things that Rob Knorr brought up in that debate was that, and he's right. I made the statement that the majority of, I believe it was me, it could have been Tyler, but one of us made the observation that a vast majority of Somalians who are here to better their lives are actually on some form of welfare. Rob Knorr looked it up. 80%. I believe it was Rob Knorr looked it up. Maybe it was Tyler. Maybe Rob Knorr made the statement and Tyler looked it up. Doesn't matter. Who cares? Point is, 2% of Minnesotans are on welfare. 2%. Somalians, who are not technically Minnesotans, 80% of the Somali population receives some form of welfare. Why? Especially not when we just gave them $2.6 billion for kids that don't do anything. This is going to be, I mean, honestly, we can't let this go. This is your tax money. This is my tax money. This is exactly why they're importing large amounts. And by they, I literally do mean the Democrats. I want to be very specific here. When I say they, I'm not being nebulous and I'm not trying to like dodge accountability or any of that kind of thing. I'm literally saying they, as in the Democrats, the left, the people who keep voting for morons to run our country, who are bringing in even more morons who do nothing but act as political shills or pawns and as a mechanism to suck money out of taxpayers' pockets. That's what these people are. I feel bad for them. I do. They really should never have left Somalia. They understood life there. Life wasn't great, but they understood it, and they weren't being used in this way. The problem we have is now they've come over to the U.S. and now they're being used to take money out of your pockets and mine. And this is a serious problem. This is a serious problem for me. And honestly, if it were the case that we were importing Italians to build sports cars, or we were importing Germans to build luxury cars or build whatever Germans build. Or we were importing Swiss to make the best fucking chocolate in the world. If it were the case that we were importing those people, I'd be like, yeah, okay, I see that, because that adds to society. It adds something. But that's not what these Democrats are doing. What these Democrats are doing is they're importing literal mental midgets. Like 67 is the average IQ. Now, I'm not saying there's not an 80 or 90 in there once in a while, but 67 average IQ, man. Socrates, what's up, buddy? How are you? How are you, man? It's been a minute. Yes, American chocolate in general is not quite where it needs to be. You don't trust Dubai chocolate? Dubai's got its own problems. So, again, I don't, and honestly, if I were a hardworking Democrat, middle of the road Democrat, and I saw this amount of fraud, I'd be pissed too. I'd be pissed. Your tax dollars are not going to feed children. They're going to line Tim Walz's pockets, to line all of these administrators' pockets, to, you know, all of the payoffs and everything else. It's probably about 100 people who have received or profited from this $9 billion that have been sucked out of the American taxpayers' pockets. Sorry, I ranted and I was getting a bit dry. The background is awesome. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Who cares about chocolate from Dubai? I don't know that Dubai has good chocolate. I don't know. If he doesn't buy me a horse, I don't want it. Same with diamonds. I would rather have a horse or a gun. That checks out. You're a horse girl. Horse girls are crazy. So, you know, it checks out. What time is it? Give me 15 minutes. I still got a few things to go over. Then I'll have you jump up and we can talk. I saw you over on Rob Noor's a couple of weeks ago. So, yeah, right. Yeah, there's something wrong with horse girls. There is. I mean, it's just I've known horse girls my whole life. I've known horse girls my whole life. I'm in Tennessee. We have Tennessee walking horses. We have Shelbyville is right down the street from me, literally. I'm just here to tell you, man. Horse girls, crazy. Crazy. What hallucination are you talking about, Marilyn? Did I miss something? Naked eating plants. That Dubai has chocolate. Okay, cool. You know what? You know the hallucination I'm really bothered by right now is the hallucination of that there were kids in these daycares that we spent millions of dollars to provide for that don't have any kids in them. They don't exist. I really think that everyone needs to go watch Nick Shirley's video. I don't have it. I didn't prep very well for today. I mean, I prepped. I just didn't prep really well. I don't have the video handy. Go watch the video where Nick Shirley actually goes to one of these facilities and there's an adult care center. There's an adult language center. There's a learning center. There's 3 daycares, not one kid in any of the daycares. Not one. That's legit, right? That's legit. That is the best hallucination ever. Ever. Yes. You're right. The medical offices were empty, but Mr. In every audience, or not audience, in every office, there was somebody there who did not speak good English, heavily accented, who would say, "You've got it. You can't be here. You can't record. You can't do this. You can't do that." Crazy. It's crazy. It's nuts. This is insane. And it's your tax dollars. It's my tax dollars. So there's so what, if you don't know, I think Nick's expose is about half an hour, maybe a little longer, maybe 45 minutes or so. And he visited, so I just, I have in my notes here, he visited the learning center where it misspells learning, by the way. Got 1.9 million in 2025 CCAP funds. Nobody there. And he confronted a state representative, and this is a good clip, on building trust amid billions funneled to Somalia-run entities. The fraud is now at $18 billion. So if you haven't, go watch Nick Shirley's videos, because it's absolutely shocking. Shocking. What's up, Anson? Anson should come up too. Yeah, stealing taxpayer money is what Democrats do best. That's true. That is true. What's up, Wicked Wally? I am going to I'm going to go ahead. I was going to wait another 10 minutes, but let me see. I've got some stuff here. Before I have him come up, I've ranted long enough about I've ranted long enough about the Somalia thing. We'll get, and I'm sure we're going to talk about it. Socrates and I will. Let's see. I had a couple other things here. All right. So if you are not aware, let's talk about the housing market. One of my favorite subjects. So I'm actually starting to look at buying houses again. There's some reasons for that. The U.S. Home sales hit a 3-year high in November. That was because mostly of a reduction in interest rate, and I think they've reduced interest rates again, or they're about to. The left is calling it like affordability, but I don't believe that. I don't believe that homes are actually more affordable right now. I think that people are able to get loans for them a little better, a little easier. Let's see what else we got. So in December, the Fed cut interest. You guys probably didn't notice. You're out Christmas shopping and all that. The Fed cut interest rates for the third time in December. Rates are around 4.25%. That's inching back down to that 3 to 2.5 mark. That is kind of that sweet spot, in my opinion. And mortgage rates are around 6.2%. Obviously, mortgage rates are more affected by inflation, weak job market, which the job market's coming back, and of course the uncertainty in the Fed. I think we're going to see another decrease in the mortgage market, probably down around 5.5 to 6%. That's going to boost affordability. It's going to, especially if incomes continue to rise. Inventory, we're building houses again, so that's good. And we'll see how this works out. Now, there's a lot of this is driven by a lot more people. So a lot of people moved out of California during COVID and right after COVID, and they haven't stopped moving out of California. And it realistically is the case that not a lot of people are actually moving to California. That's having some issues with their pricing too. So obviously Minnesota's market's going to be fucked up because of all the scam. Anson says, when the AI bubble pops, the equity market bubble, all the stuff you were saying will become irrelevant. Maybe. We'll see. I don't know that there's. I've been trying to really key in on the this AI bubble thing, but I can't. I can see why it would happen. I just don't actually believe it will happen. So anyway, all right, Socrates. Let me see. Where's my Discord? There's Discord over there on that screen. Let's see. Everybody, while you're waiting, go over and vote for me on the whatever that what is it? It's the Streamers Awards. Yeah, People's Choice. Go do that. That'll be awesome. I think I'm in the semifinals. If I get through this one, I get to do another one, which would be awesome. And Socrates has the link. So there you go. Now that's the link for to go vote. Please go vote. Helps me out. Boosts my confidence level. As I was saying earlier, I've been shooting. I'm getting getting close to being match season. You guys may not. I don't know how much you guys know about this. How much you've been paying attention over the last year or so. A couple of years ago, I was shooting a match and I hurt myself pretty bad, and I added a bunch of weight. I didn't want to. It's just how it works. You don't move a lot. Even if you don't change your eating habits, you're going to add weight. I added quite a bit. I gained about 40 pounds, 45 pounds, somewhere along in there total. And then I dropped. I'm down over 40 pounds now. So that's cool. And then I've got a lot of health back. And now I'm working on, first it was getting the weight off. Now I'm working on getting the strength back, which I have been doing for a while. I'm stronger, but I'm not 100% yet. And so I'm working on that right now, doing a lot of strength training. And part of that is because I'm going to run a full season of my shooting matches. And so part of doing that is I practice a lot. I shoot 3 to 4 times a week. I shoot about 200 rounds, 250 rounds every time I go. I was just at the range. I shot my normal 250. I shot 250 rounds today. Really good accuracy. Kind of dialing in some ammo and working with some guns. I'm gonna change some stuff about my guns, and then we'll see. We'll see where that goes. I've got a bunch of sorry, Naomi's talking about competing on horseback. I don't know. Horses are okay. They're not my favorite. But yeah, it's not the getting tired part. It's just getting faster. So that's accuracy is good. Gonna get I need to get a bunch of reps in. I'm doing my dry fire every day. So it's gonna be cool. What's up, Void Ace? I see you out there. Hey, it's Socrates, the man, the myth, legend.
Hey, how you doing?
I'm good, man. I'm good. How are you?
Pretty good.
Enjoying your holiday?
Getting everything set up here. Yeah, I am. Taking some time off work, hanging out.
They give scientists time off work?
Yeah, I mean, I get a decent amount off. There's a kind of cultural thing where.
Are your nails done?
Yeah. I mean, they're pretty chipped up. You can see how much.
What?
This is
okay.
How much growth there is at the bottom since.
Okay, that's weird.
They need some.
Why red? What's up with that?
I like red. I feel like it's good color on me. Red, orange. I feel like looks pretty good.
Okay. Wouldn't have been a color I would have. Wouldn't have, well, painted nails in the first place, kind of weird, but
What would you go for? More like a green, or?
I don't wear nail polish, so there we go.
Oh no, I mean, but if you were to go for a color, you said
I had a friend of mine in high school who went through this period of like being some kind of weird goth dude, and he had black fingernail polish all the time.
Yep.
I was like, what is wrong with you?
I feel like, I don't think I'm going to talk you in anything here today, but if you were to try one color, I think black looks a little bit badass on pretty much anyone. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, it's, it'll never happen, but I appreciate it. Appreciate the advice. My wife wears fingernail polish. So she actually just got her nails done the other day. Some like pearly iridescent thing.
Oh, nice. Yeah. I mean, it's a nice. There's a place in LA, visited a couple times and went to, and for like some insanely low price, did like a really nice nail polish with like nail art. They put like a sticker into it and then do over it, and like different colors, different like cat's eye where they put metal into it and they take a magnet to orient it so it looks different from like different directions, like holographic, for like $50, $40 or something. It was unreal.
See, the problem is I don't know anything about this, so I'm just like zoned out on that. That's cool. Like I said, my wife likes. My wife goes to the Korean nail. But actually, I think most of her cosmetics are Korean.
Korea's got really good skincare, everything. Yeah, they've got some high tech cosmetics. I worked at one company I worked at on the ground floor was like a Jennifer Aniston branded cosmetics company.
So I guess I mentioned it because I'm not quite used to nail polish on men. Wouldn't have been You know, like I originally thought you were going to say that you lost a bet. You know, your team isn't going to make it into the Super Bowl or something like that. So,
No, I like it because it's pretty. Yeah.
okay. All right. Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Yeah.
Anyway, so what do you know about? Have you watched the Nick Shirley videos?
I saw like a tiny little bit. I saw, the part where he's confronting. He's like, "Where are the kids? Where are the kids?" And I saw actually something. Somebody was looking into one daycare that he went to. So they were doing like a review of his review. And they were saying that the place that he looked at was like, well, there were no kids there because it had been like closed for years because it had been shut down because it was like a crappy daycare. And it had like a 1-star review and it said on Google, like permanently closed. So I'm always a little bit careful when there's like, kind of like a guy shows up to a place and he's like, here's what's going on, to necessarily believe that that's like exactly what the case is. I haven't looked into this. I'm not saying anything one way or another, but I'm always like a little bit skeptical when it's like some guy with a microphone shows up and he's like, "Where are the kids?" And it's like, well,
yeah, you should
they might
watch
not
the
bring
video,
you the
man.
kids to a daycare. You've got some guys showing up at the door.
You should watch the video. It's industrial strength fraud.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like I think there were 3 daycares in this building, and none of them had kids in them. There was an adult learning center with learning spelled wrong.
Yeah, that was the one that had been closed, and you can look it up, but it's closed. It had lots of citations. It had been closed for a while, so it's like you kind of have to wonder. It's like, did this guy not do the research, or is he presenting something?
Well, I think the thing is they just received a bunch of money. So saying it's closed on Yelp is one thing, but when you look into it in 2025 and they received the Learning Center, I believe received. Hang on. I have some notes, but they're not like really good notes. So give me 1 second, because I did not prepare for this show. I mean, I was on the fence about it.
Literally, yeah. I mean, I would. I'd be happy to talk about this a bit. I'd be happy to talk about.
So in 2025, when this business was supposed to be closed, right? In 2025, it received 1.9 million in CCAP funds. That's fraud, right? And this is in addition to the monies it received earlier when it was also supposedly closed, or at least maybe Yelp was closed. Maybe Yelp said it was closed or whatever, but I don't know.
No, I mean it was like official investigations that were looking into it, and they were like, "This is not a good daycare. We're shutting this down." Let me see if I can find you.
Yeah, again, I don't really care much about that. Eventually somebody looked into it and they closed it down like last month.
No. I mean like years earlier.
Oh yeah, well, all right. So if it's been closed for years and they're getting money all the way up until this year, again, that's fraud.
Wait, so where did you see that they were getting money, or like where was that like shown or demonstrated? Or
yeah, the Learning Center with the misspelled learning in it got 1.9 million in 2025 CCAP funds, but it does appear inactive or fraudulent, yeah. So, and now again, my notes are a little sloppy, but they're not that bad.
I don't know. Let's see, I had it on my
and I didn't dive too deep into this,
yeah.
But there's definitely a lot of fraud.
Yeah, I mean, look, so just to give my kind of like political background, kind of overall response to this, if there's fraud, that's really important to deal with and get rid of. That's that's a breach of the public trust. That's our money. That is
our money
going toward causes that are supposed to be helping people. And if somebody is,
and again, I said earlier, I don't know if you were here yet, but I said earlier, I don't think I don't have a problem feeding kids. I don't have a problem with that. I don't have a problem taking care of kids to some degree.
Yeah.
I don't know about state provided daycare, but maybe. But definitely, if you're feeding kids, fine. As a youth, you don't know this about me, but I was dirt poor, and I actually my family received help occasionally from the church and maybe the government. I don't know if the government ever got involved, but definitely the church. So as having been someone that received help from people, no problem helping kids that are hungry. No problem at all. The problem comes in that none of this appears to be real, right? And again, we had the debate a couple of weeks ago. It was Rob, Nor, and I against. I can't even remember who we were up against. Honestly, it doesn't matter. And Tyler was there, and it was basically there. Oh, it was Liberal Cluck, and I forget who the other guy.
I don't know them.
Yeah, not A grade. So we just kept we ran over them, but it was the biggest problem is their biggest problem is they were like, well, these people aren't actually a drag on our society, and I'm like, yeah, but 80% of I think there's something like just under 500,000 Somalis in Minnesota.
Okay.
80% of them are on welfare, which is nuts. And Tyler pulled up that the like as a state, Minnesotans, not obviously Somalis because it's different, but Minnesotans receive about 2% of Minnesotans receive some form of welfare. Now that those numbers and we don't know that they're from the same year. I don't know because I didn't do the research. That was a Tyler thing, but Tyler's pretty good on his research. Like he's got it nailed down. So I would say that, man, it's rough. It's rough. So, but
sure.
Again, I don't have any problem with helping kids, but I have a problem with the waste. I have a problem with the fraud. I have a problem with all of these other things. So.
I have a book. I need to organize my library better, but it talks about some kind of big ideas of these conversations around open borders, UBI, healthcare, these kind of like massive issues of our time, these things that are very much in the public eye that feel like these are the questions that we're kind of sorting through. And one thing that it talks about is with respect to borders. So you have this like general situation of our day where capital can flow across borders, but people now have a much harder time. So like 100 years ago or whatever, people didn't really have passports.
Sure.
We had migrants who would come out of Mexico into California and work during a season and then go back home. And then we started enforcing borders much more strongly. And so people who used to be kind of seasonal migrant workers would have to stay because, it wasn't easy for them to just go back and forth. So a lot of people ended up immigrating either in an official documented way or not. There's a lot of people in the world who either, we have destabilized very directly via creating coups in their nation or kind of economic policies. And so we're dealing with some of the blowback of that, where now people are very impoverished in the nations that they're at. And so some of them want to come here. My kind of general orientation toward the world is that kind of as humanity, we're all in this together. So I want like everybody to succeed. I don't want to be in a big wealthy fortress, shooting at anybody who tries to come near our hoard of wealth. You know, me and my family are safe, but everybody else is starving. You know, that's not the kind of world that I want to live in. So
Really?
I think kind of really.
Yeah, I think that's exactly the world we want.
But that's the world we want, or the
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, do you have locks on
okay,
your door?
okay. Well,
Do you have locks on your
this
doors?
is perfect because it seems like we're
Yeah,
maybe
yeah. Do you? I mean, you have locks on your
getting
doors, correct?
I do. Yeah, I grew up. We had our door locked. Our neighbor across the street had the door always unlocked. It was a very safe neighborhood. It wasn't
Sure.
suburban. It was in a city. At some point, they got broken into a few times, and they started locking. But I would like to live in a world where I wouldn't have to lock my door. Right? I think that's better. Right? I'm not gonna be naive or pretend that you can just unlock your door and pretend everything's okay and nothing will ever happen. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying that I want to live in a world where you don't have to lock your doors. Right? That's I feel like that's a pretty common ideal.
Yeah, I don't, because I guess maybe I live a little too much in reality. Now I actually grew up where we never locked our doors. We were very rural. Even when I was in college and lived in town, I never locked the doors. I honestly, it bugs my wife. I don't always lock the cars when I, park it in my driveway. I feel like my driveway is fairly safe, and it's my car, and I'd rather them not break my windows if they break in.
Sure.
But the house, totally different thing. So
what changed in terms of like during those periods of times when you lived, you felt safe, you felt like you could leave your door unlocked and nothing horrible was going to happen.
Because everybody around me was like me and they could be trusted. So when you start, and this is, and to your point, you're like, well, we have this society where wealth can flow across borders. People to some degree can flow across borders, but there are limits and checks and balances. And that's
it's a much more limited flow. Yeah.
It's much more limited flow. It should never be the case that people can flow across borders. Otherwise,
it should never be the case.
Should never be the case
that people can flow across borders.
That can just flow, like just walk across anytime they want. Right? That should never be the case, because at that point you no longer have a country. First of all, the second, you no longer have security for yourself or your family. And the number one thing in any man's life has to be security for himself and his family. Period. Above all else. I don't have any friends that I would put above the security of myself and my family. I would literally shoot my best friend in the head if they threatened my family.
Sure. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. I would literally do that. Like, I'm not even kidding. Not even a little bit. If you threaten me, you threaten my family, all bets are off. So, and here's the thing. While you look like a nice guy, you could be a serial killer. So there's space between you and I. You will never be able to, it's very unlikely that there would be a time where I would be around you where I am not armed.
Wait, really?
Really?
Like actually as like that's...
Yes. I'm always armed. Always. Not because I don't trust you specifically, but I don't know everybody.
I'm not offended, to be clear. I'm just, it's a very, very different mindset. I mean,
it is a different mindset, because while I grew up in a very cohesive, friendly environment, there were still people that did bad things. I'm not saying there weren't. But when you have people that you don't know, and you have people that you are not vetting, you can no longer provide safety and security for you or your family. Now, I'm boiling this down to the very basic family unit, but it also goes for my town. I honestly don't want people to come to my town and just move here.
Interesting.
So, I mean, I understand the utopia that you're talking about. I understand that,
I mean,
that the idea of people being just good inherently.
no, that's not what I'm
That's not
saying.
what you're saying, because it seems
No,
like that's what you're saying.
no. I mean,
Okay.
to me, what you're describing is and this is just my reaction. I don't mean this in like a like any kind of intense way, but
Yeah.
what you're describing to me comes off like it's not my utopia, but it comes off like a very utopic
Mm-hmm.
vision
Yes.
that you live in this area, maybe small, maybe large number of people, but
Mm-hmm.
everybody is and when you say look like you or like you probably mean like thinks like you, or you can relate to, or
Yeah, yeah. I'm not
you're
saying,
probably not meaning
yeah,
like
not. I mean, yeah. Obviously,
anything,
we had many different types of people, but people
a certain kind of
assimilated.
mindset or
Yeah,
something
they assimilate.
relatable.
And so just a point of fact, right?
Mm-hmm.
We had Laotian refugees come in when I was in third grade,
Mm-hmm.
and that the churches and I think maybe the government helped relocate them into my town.
Mm-hmm.
They came from small towns, so they kind of already understood it. But obviously, in the beginning, they were very tribal, very closed off. Didn't really want to talk to other people. But over the time that I was, that I knew them, from middle school, from third grade to middle school, and into high school, all those walls broke down. They assimilated. They wore the same clothes. They moved out into other neighborhoods. They established businesses, and they became like us. Now, they were still them, but they became like us.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and then once we've gotten those, those kind of on that, once we've equalized to a level, the more, I wouldn't say the trust is there, but now you're part of my community. Do you understand? That's what we're really talking about here. So if we're really talking about community, we can't have people just coming and going that we don't know, right? That we don't understand that this person thinks the same way I do. This is why when people from California come to my community, we're like, don't leave that California shit at the door. It doesn't belong here, right? And a lot of them leave because they don't fit in, and their worldviews and their mentality is so different that they can't be here. They'll just leave. So no, I think that fences make good neighbors. I think borders make great countries, and I think that I don't go to Mexico because I'm not Mexican. I don't speak Spanish. I don't go there. If I go there, I go as a tourist. Okay. I go to China, right? I go to China and I don't look like anybody. Right. And, while I'm made to feel welcome, I don't just get to walk into China. It's a process. It's a vetting. And I think that every country inherently understands that. Inherently. Since the beginning of time.
It's a relatively recent phenomenon.
An open borders policy is a leftist, stupid ass leftist dream that for some reason they persist in pursuing, which is going to be really bad.
Wait, I couldn't hear the start of that.
Oh, I'm sorry. I said that
what's the leftist?
Yeah, it's open borders is a ridiculous leftist dream that has no place in modern society.
In modern society, but it did have a place in the past. I mean, maybe it's utopian now, but that was
when has there been open borders in history?
I mean, just in the early 20th century in America, we had migrants coming in from Mexico, working for a season, leaving. We didn't have the same kind of passport checks and the same kind of intensity around moving over to work
But we
somewhere
didn't
else.
have as many of them coming in.
Not
And
numerically. It was
in
a
fairness,
pretty large number.
in fairness, there were as many people from America going to Mexico to work. This is the false narrative that the left clings
That's
to,
fine.
is that Mexico was always this poor,
No,
shitty ass country.
that's not what I'm saying at all.
Where their people wanted to come here, but
that's not at all.
And actually, prior and early in the 20th century, prior to probably right around 1920 into the 1930s, like pre-World War I, a lot of Americans owned property in Mexico, and a lot of Mexicans owned property in the U.S. They still had to go through border checks. They still had customs. They still had all those things. But back and forth, they were, there were still the checks, right? Now, I will also say that it was not easy to go from Mexico to the United States. It was not easy. There was no superhighways. There,
Sure.
There were no. I mean, it was a. If you wanted to go there, it was rough.
Yeah. Do you think that I was trying to make the point that Mexico has always been a poor, shitty place? Is that
no? I think that leftists do that. I don't think that you personally were, but it's something that really bugs me.
That's a sentiment
a lot of
that
people
I've never encountered.
Well, well, for whatever reason, if I ask a leftist, why do you think Mexicans should come here? Why do you think they come here? Immediately for a better life. Why? Why do they need to come here for a better life?
There's a level of safety and economic prosperity that's
available
more widely here. Yeah.
Is there?
I mean,
so now you're saying Mexico is a shitty land.
No, that's not really what I'm saying.
That's what you're saying. That's exactly what you're saying. You're saying that it's so shitty there that they need to come here. And not only do they need to come here, we need to allow them to come here because their land is so shitty.
No, that would be like a refugee status. So there are people from South and Central America that do receive refugee status. I'm sure there's some people from Mexico that may have some kind of like specific issue with the cartel that have gotten refugee status. I don't think, I certainly don't know enough about.
Well, okay, so you're saying it's such a shitty country that their economy can't support their own populace that they have to come here. But that's, I mean, all right, you can't have it both ways. Either the only reason they come here is for the handouts and the free shit that they're going to get in America, or their country's kind of shitty, or the reason that they come to America is because they can't get any jobs, and America is where they're going to come and find good jobs and shit like that. In both cases, though, you're basically saying Mexico sucks ass and the United States is the land of promise, which I don't disagree with. Stand by. Yeah. I've got a phone call I got to take.
Okay. Yeah. Go ahead. Just talk to my chat.
That's good customer service right there. I needed to order a part for one of the cars, and I'm trying to do it while I'm here, so I'm not really paying attention to what I'm doing. They don't take American Express. I was like, why isn't this accepting the damn credit?
Yeah.
And so I just kind of gave up on it. So they called. They could see that I'm trying to place the order on their POS system, and so they're like, "Hey, are you having trouble with this?" And I'm like, "Yes." And they're like, "Well, are you using Visa, MasterCard, or Discover?" And I'm like, "No, I'm using American Express." I'm like, yeah. And then I realized, I'm like, "Oh yeah, you guys don't take American Express." And so it was being a pain in the ass, but I got it. It's cool.
Nice.
But yeah, so basically, this is a problem I have with everyone who condones mass immigration to this country.
Okay.
If the reason we don't see mass immigration of Germans is Germany sucks, but it doesn't suck that bad, right?
Why does Germany suck? I was just there this summer.
High inflation. It's they have their society's really. It's a very socialistic society, so for me, it would suck, right?
It's great.
You might like it. I don't know, but I don't.
I mean, there's trains that run on time. The cities are clean.
Yeah, Mussolini
everything works well. There's great nightlife and culture and food. Things are relatively affordable.
Relatively, I don't know if they're relatively affordable.
I mean, nowhere in North America or Europe is super affordable right now. We've all got a decent amount of inflation. Wages aren't really keeping up. But I'm in biotech, so I'm not, I'm not playing a violin for myself.
You're what now?
I'm in biotech, so it's not like I'm playing a little violin for myself.
Yeah.
It sucks when a burger is like $17. It's like, hey, what the hell? That's crazy.
Yeah, it's a weird thing. I went to McDonald's, and and it's been several weeks ago, and I hadn't been in a long time. Yeah, my kids wanted to go, and I'm like, it was like $25 or $30 for me and the two kids. I was like, what? When did that happen? I'm like, that's a lot.
The dollar menu became the value menu.
Yeah, right.
We couldn't call it the dollar menu anymore. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I just have to. That's my problem with anybody that's in favor of mass migration is basically you're saying that their country sucks, and which is probably true, right? But the thing is that we pour a lot of money into these countries.
Into which countries? I mean, we pour money into destabilizing a lot of those countries.
Well, we probably should do
Iran-Contra scandal. I mean,
more of one and less of the other. I think maybe destabilization probably is better money spent, but.
You think that's good money spent? Is like creating refugees?
Well, no, I don't think that you can.
I mean,
if they're actual refugees and they go to the next country for refugee status, and sure, but if they're not refugees and they're just we're destabilizing them to get them a better government, that I don't disagree with that. I don't like the way the CIA
better
does
government, and they're. People are en masse, fleeing for better economic or safety conditions than that. I don't.
But wait, hold on. So
I don't think we should be destabilizing anybody.
Hold on. So here's the thing. If you're looking at Somalia, for example, is this Minnesota problem?
I love Somalia, by the way. They're very anarcho-capitalists, and that's wonderful.
Where the average IQ is 67. And it's not a particularly good society. When you look at Somalia, we're not where they should go for refugee status. There's so many other places they could go to Egypt, but Egypt won't have them. Why is that? Why will Egypt not have them?
I'm not familiar with that.
Yeah.
But why shouldn't we take them? Or why shouldn't we
should not be importing people that are all right. My first issue is we should not import people that are a net negative to society.
What do you mean import people? What is that?
Well, if you are bringing Somalis from Africa past every other country where they could be refugee status and bringing them to the United States, that you're importing you're importing people. That's what you're doing. You can call it whatever you
I'm
want.
not familiar with it. We're like human trafficking people, or
Basically, it is. How do you think they get here? Do you think they walk?
are we doing that? Are we like kidnapping people from?
Well, I don't know.
What?
I don't know if we're kidnapping them or if we're just like, hey, get on the damn boat, and when you get off, you're going to be in America, land of the free, home of the brave, rather than go to Egypt or any of the other countries in there, nearby, which is what international law actually says, is that, refugees are refugees that go to the next available country.
Wait, so I'm stuck on this. So we're sending boats or planes over to Somalia and like grabbing people.
Well, I don't know if we're grabbing people, but if they are refugees, then they are fleeing. Yes.
Sure.
Okay. So if they are fleeing, what international law says is next available country.
Okay.
The United States is not the next available country. There's all of Africa they could go flee into.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't. So how do they get here?
Do you have somewhere that I can read about this, that we're like going and getting?
Well, I honestly have not actually looked into how they get here, other than that they're flown in or whatever.
Is it possible that they're like booking a boat to America?
Originally,
like a port.
So originally there were some Somalis brought here by the churches.
Oh, okay. Mm-hmm.
Originally. And that was, I'm not really sure what program that was. I actually meant to check it out. I didn't actually do a lot of prep for the show. And a lot of it's just the prep I did for the debate a couple of weeks ago, and just kind of tying it into what Nick Shirley has been uncovering.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
no, I'm not. I don't have any. I don't even really have. We don't even have to look at.
We don't even have to talk about Somalians, right?
Yeah.
Like, so the Laotian refugees that came over when I was in school, they literally got on planes that were paid for by the U.S. government to come here. Now they did that. My understanding is they did that because that was an agreement made between the United States government and the Laotian people in exchange for their help during the Vietnam War. And those people's lives were placed into jeopardy because of that. And when we left, one of the few things that we did right is the people that we put in harm's way, the United States of America put in harm's way, we relocated them to the U.S.
Yeah, that's a really good thing to do. Absolutely.
Now, they were also given the option of going to Cambodia, which is the neighboring country.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't like, and a lot of the people that came over were political or military people that had, actually had reason to fear for their lives, right? Because we were leaving Vietnam, or we had left Vietnam, and this was, so I was in third grade. So this is 8 years later. So, it was a big deal.
Yeah. So initially, I mean, what your kind of initial feeling was like, you weren't so sure about them, or like how did?
Well, I mean, again,
yeah.
Well, I was 8 and 9 years old, man. Come on.
Okay, so you didn't have like any
I had
strong feeling or awareness.
I didn't have any feeling. I was in third grade. Come on, but I look back
like, who are these new people in my town?
Yeah. And why don't they speak English? Although a lot of them did speak some English.
Mm-hmm.
So when I'm looking at this, when I look at the difference between how the Laotians were handled back in 78, 79, 80, and the Cambodians and some other people, and how we're dealing with basically Haitians, Somalians, Dominican, all these people. and I don't have an answer for this, right? Like it doesn't make any sense to me. The Cuban refugees, you probably don't remember this year. I don't know how old you are, but the Cuban refugees used to literally build boats out of anything to escape Cuba to come to the US, and they would literally die. And they come into the US, and those people have become tremendous assets to a lot of them have become tremendous assets to the United States.
Yeah.
We were the next available country that they could get to, right? There's so that followed the international asylum laws. This is my problem with these Somalis and everything. And what's really bends my brain, and I haven't really dug into it. I've heard about it. I kind of understand it. Is it looks like there's a pipeline to take these people from Somalia, promise them a better life in America. They somehow boat, train, plane, whatever, get to South America. And I think specifically, like Venezuela, maybe El Salvador. And then they come up through Mexico and cross our border on the south of the border. And once they walk in, they get during Biden's administration, they could use the app and claim asylum status.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, I can say, I grew up in an area with a lot of people that came from Haiti, huge Haitian population. We had a Creole word of the day in my elementary school.
Creole? You're in were you in Louisiana?
No, I mean, I don't think I remember anything. I know a tiny bit of French, so when I overhear people speaking Creole, I can make out a little bit of it. It's a lot of the same vocab, but some of the accents kind of different. I mean, I've grown up in a city with a lot of people from a lot of different places, and you're right that some level of cohesion is important, and it's important that we not have populations that are left kind of unable to fend for themselves and gain or create employment. Those are very, very important and aren't able to integrate, not to become the same as everyone else, but to be able to relate to other people. That's very important.
Give me 1 second. I need to acknowledge some donations. First of all, K2 Keep On Trucking sent in how much did he send in? $2 and says, a kid with a cell phone did more than CNN did in 15 years. That's kind of true. He's talking about the Nick. Now I can't think of his last name. The Powder Dusty came through with Nick Shirley. Powder Dusty came through with 99 cents with a frowny face, 99 cents with a drooling face, $2 with a hey you. Thanks. What's up, Flow State? He came in with a $1.49 rainbow. I'm assuming he's calling someone gay. I'm not really sure who. It could be me, could be you. I don't know. The Powder Dusty.
Wait, what did he say? I missed.
It's a rainbow. It's just a rainbow super sticker.
Okay.
So I'm assuming that he means someone's gay. Could be me. Could be you. I don't know.
It could be either of us. Hard to say who he's indicating.
Yeah. I mean, personally, I'd bet on you, but it's Flow, so who knows? The Powder, he comes in with $1.99 with just where it says tired. I guess he's tired of my nonsense. And then he says he sent in $2 and says making it rain, ho. All right, there you go. Now I'm caught up. Thank you very much for the donations, guys. That's awesome. Really appreciate that, Flow State. Good to see you out there in the chat. So let's see. Did I miss something? Yeah. All right. So so I think that I can I can see arguments that against that we are actually importing people broadband into the country, but I disagree with it. Well, maybe not you, right? Personally, I doubt that you're flying over to wherever Venezuela or wherever and putting people onto trains or boats or airplanes and then sending them.
I brought 10 people to America from Venezuela today.
That would be.
I flew to Venezuela, grabbed the first 10 people I saw, and just dragged them onto a boat.
Dragged them on. Well, don't put them on boats. Boats are dangerous from Venezuela right now.
Oh yeah, that's true. Yeah.
don't
America acting as a pirate state. Interesting. I never.
Not really a tyrant state.
No, a pirate state.
Oh, pirate. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Well, apparently the resurrection.
After the memes never stop coming.
Apparently, they're resurrecting Letters of the Mark, and I can't wait. I've got a couple of boats and a bunch of firepower, and
You can become a privateer. Can live
I've got the flag.
Century dreams.
I got it right here. I got the flag right there. We're ready to go. I got skull and crossbones literally right there. Mm-hmm. It's ready to go. We'll just fire it up. I just the wholesale importation, open borders policy, whatever you want to call it, is just it's terrible. It's terrible for America. There's nothing. There's no upside.
I hear this all the time, but it's like I've never seen anybody like talk about this in a real way. So like what you were saying with the people from Laos, that there was like an agreement with the Laotian government, and they were like, we gotta save these people who are, they're going to be killed by the communists or whatever, right?
But we don't.
From Vietnam.
I'll come back to that. I got it. Dusty's throwing out at $5 this time. The Arbo is God's promise to never flood the world again. But you both zesty. I have to say that in a voice like he would, because it's Flow State. Thank you for the $5, Flow State.
Right. So the idea that it's like we're like why are we importing all? It's like, it's a really bizarre, like dehumanizing, conspiratorial. It's like, the people that I'm familiar with that are, that are being important. They're like, hey, I want to go to America. My ancestors came to America because it was very hostile to specifically Jews, where they were, and also economic opportunity. For a lot of people in Western Europe, that was the thing. I was in Prague earlier this year, and I went to the old Jewish ghetto quarter that had been mostly destroyed, and saw like actual ancestors of mine that were brought out from the camps. And when boats of Jews left Germany to come to America to be safe from being murdered by the Nazis, America sent them back to be murdered by the Nazis. There's so many people whose ancestors, were killed, who would be with us here today if we had just, not been monsters about it. And I get not trusting. I get feeling like, hey, I got to put on my own face mask before I put on someone else's, right? I get all that, right? I understand that, but at some level, like you have to be a human being about this, right? You can't just say, well, they weren't born here, so I don't care that they're human beings. I guess they just die, whatever. Doesn't matter to me. Like that can't be like anyone's attitude about the world.
You understand what you're really saying is that no other country in the world can be safe except America.
No, not at all.
Well, that's what you're saying. They have to come here. You literally just said they have to come here.
All kinds of places.
But you just said they have to come here.
The people fleeing Europe, that's where they fled to. I think they
fled to many places, America among them.
Yeah. People flee from lots of places, lots of other places. We're a pretty large
part. But when we're talking about Somali or Venezuelan or El Salvadoran,
mm-hmm.
when we start talking about those things, what you are saying, what every person that supports this open borders nonsense is saying is that abandon all hope for their own country. Don't improve your country. Don't fight for your country. No, what you need to do is you need to come to my country. We're going to take care of you. Which, by the way, not a majority of Americans don't agree with. They don't, and they don't want to wholesale import people. We've always been welcoming of people coming in.
Wow.
But there's always been control.
To
right?
various degrees,
yeah. Right, to various degrees. There's always been rules. There's always been control.
I mean,
look, this is
right?
this is what drives me crazy.
Mm-hmm.
I could actually, you literally just said, you've been to this country, it's awesome. You've been to this country, it's great.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't been to El Salvador, but I had an employee from there, and he said El Salvador is wonderful. Sure, it has problems with drug and crimes and all of that. But rather than have all of those people flee here, explain to me the logic of having all of their citizens flee to our country, strain our system, rather than tell those people, hey, we'll take your old, your children, your women, we'll take the people who can't fight, but all you military age males stay in your fucking country and take that shit back or die trying. What's wrong with that? Because that's what happened in America. Nobody came to America's aid. Nobody came in over here and said, well, France did in Revolutionary War. But after that, it was us. And now we seem to be that we are literally
in the Civil War.
The Civil War, no, there was no foreign involvement in the Civil
War.
No.
I just mean like which. Okay, yeah. I think it's a very personal choice.
I don't think it's personal at all. I think it's very analytic. But every time someone says we need to bring X people here,
no. I mean on the other end, right? So you've talked about protecting your family over everything else, over friends.
Yes.
If it came to a situation where you feared for your life, for your family's life, because of the political climate or economic conditions or whatever, something in the country that maybe could be changed, that you could maybe have a positive impact on, or you could be safer by leaving, I think that would be a very personal thing to decide. I mean, that's something that I don't know if this will be comprehensible to you, but that's something that I'm thinking about these days with the, a lot of people doing a lot of salutes on a lot of stages in America these days. That question of that my ancestry has dealt with for a long time of, do we stay because this is our home, or do we leave because we might be killed if we don't leave? That's not an abstract question. Yeah. To me, that's a real thing to grapple with, right? And I think for every person in every country, do you stay and try to make it better, or do you leave because the likelihood of you doing something to make it better versus the likelihood of you and your family, being murdered?
Yes, and I answered that. I gave you the exact scale for that. Old women and children, military age males, stand and fight for your country. And if you lose, you lose.
You would stand and fight if it meant your family dying.
No, I would send my family to safety, just like every other culture, literally since the dawn of time, has done.
Mm-hmm. And so
let me put it to you this way.
So that makes sense.
Let's just say that things did turn bad for you personally. Like things turned bad. Like Nick, Nick and his crew.
Let's say Nick Fuentes. Let's say that he ended up something crazy happened, and he ended up having dinner with the president or something. He got some kind of validity. Let's say something like that happened.
Let's just say that it's not looking good for you.
Mm-hmm.
So I would expect you as a grown man to stay and fight however you can, unless it's just untenable, and then fine, retreat. That's no problem.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly don't know your personal life. I don't know if you're married or whatever, but if you had a wife and children, I would expect you to send those wife and children to your parents, or, your aunt, uncle, whatever, somewhere far away, safe, maybe in the old country, whatever. Right.
It's not safe in the old country.
Well, whatever. Where, right? Like you would, but I would expect that, because that's how it's been since the dawn of time. Why do we think it's new now? The difference is now is that you have us, America, saying, hey, yeah, just bring all your dudes up here too, and don't worry about it. So what that does is that weakens their country further, so it falls further and further into decline. And now, and now we have to fix it again, and it's just bad. So I'm going to give you an example of this. That is it doesn't have the happiest of endings, but it's fine. So after World War II, the CIA decided to assassinate the president. He called himself president. He was technically the Shah, whatever, doesn't matter, of Iran.
Mm-hmm.
Prior to that, Iran was awesome. Iraq was awesome. It was literally Baghdad was the Paris of the desert. It was like beautiful. It's a beautiful city. You look at pictures from back then, there are fountains, there are women walking around in Western clothing, men in suits.
Yep.
Very, very wonderful. Very wonderful. But then we assassinate the guy. It was a bad move on our part. A fundamentalist eventually, it takes a few years. We look like
Can't win them all. Can't get them all right.
Well, we've not, honestly, the CIA
people, you might kill some of the wrong ones.
Yeah. The CIA does not have a good track record. They need to let the FBI handle it. But it was okay we won for a couple of years, but eventually the fundamentalists came into power. And the more fundamentalist it went, the worse it became. Now we have Ayatollah, we have Shahs, we have these clerics taking power, where they had a Western political style system, and we fucked that up, and it went to it went into a religious fundamentalist system. What that actually ended up doing was splintering all of these tribes again, which happens every few years. And it's literally, they start killing each other. A couple of the ones that really could have stabilized the region, we exported to other places, leaving behind, we effectively weakened the forces that could have stood against these fundamentalists way early on. And so now we've had 70 plus years of war in the sandbox, in all the stands, Iraq, Afghanistan, Pakistan, all the stands. 70 years of war that we are involved in because we just won't leave it alone. And this is why that's why
we have to go to war there today.
That's why, I mean, yeah, absolutely. I mean, we at some point we need to just stop. And every time Trump, I think that we need to get out of there. I've always said that we need to get out of there and just let those people handle it and stop them from fleeing. You can't. They're not. Now you've got
America World Police,
Somalians. You've got all of these Islamic peoples that have fled into, especially like the Sudanese and some others, and the Syrians, into Europe, where they're making Europe into the same shithole that they made their country, and they should have been contained there to some degree, not allowed to flee across those borders, and had to fix their shit. I'm being a little hyperbolic, but not by much.
Mm.
But every time we do this, we make the problem worse. Now you have bombings in Paris. You have shootings in Germany. They just had a shooting in England just a few weeks ago. I mean,
shootings happen. I wouldn't worry about it.
Well, I'm not worried about. Well, yeah.
At least they have some guns.
I'm not worried about the shooting. I'm worried about
more shootings. Really, they don't have enough guns.
They don't have enough guns, but
bump those numbers up.
When you have an unarmed society and you have people who don't care about the laws, that's a problem.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah.
But yes, you should have way more guns. I'll teach you.
Way more guns. That would solve it. Actually,
it seems the case that an armed society is a peaceful society.
It is. Look at our society. We're very armed, and no one gets hurt.
Well, we're very peaceful, though.
We are very peaceful.
Except for the people that
we should go to war in Iran and
except
Venezuela.
For the people we keep releasing back into public.
Hmm.
You know, it's weird how many people who commit these crimes have like these extensively long records, and it's just like, yeah, whatever. Sure, it's the 10th time, but whatever.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in Tennessee, we have a law that goes into effect today, maybe next week. In Tennessee, we have a law that basically identifies and makes the state government responsible for tracking repeated domestic violence and or assault. You know, like, so people who where before it's not necessary to track that, or it hasn't been. It's not the law but now it's the law. Literally, the idea of catch and release and all of that, at least in my state said no more. It's called Savannah's Law, and it was so you can't have these guys that have 5 different DVs against 5 different women, and they never get.
I'm not familiar, but that sounds like a good idea.
Yeah, it's not. They never get put in jail because of the way our legal system works. So. But we need more of that. We need more people. We can identify bad actors and pull them off way easier. But like I said, I'm always armed, so this is the way it is.
Yeah, I mean, to be serious, the example that you were describing, where the U.S. topples a functioning society. Mm-hmm. Because I can't remember for that one, they wanted to like nationalize the oil, probably. So that's something like that.
Well, it was that. Yeah, they were the I believe, and I haven't looked at this in a while, so I could be mixing Iraq, Iran, whatever. I could be mixing up countries here, but my recollection is
nationalized oil.
Yeah, they were going to. The president was going to nationalize oil production, and
our oil.
No, and actually we didn't even care. The oil wasn't even the biggest concern. The biggest concern was that because he wanted to nationalize it.
Soviets.
That's right. Our government thought he was going too far socialist, and that the Soviets could take root and communism could break out there. And it was this is why the CIA. I don't get the CIA. You would think that such smart people, they recruit from Yale. You would think that such smart people would understand that desert people, nomadic desert motherfuckers that are tribal as fuck, are never going to be communists.
Iran wasn't nomadic.
Huh?
I mean, the government of Iran wasn't like nomadic.
Well, but they came from that. And Iran, Iraq, they're all they're a large number of desert people. Anyway, doesn't matter. They were never going to become communist. At worst, they would have become some weird form of like pseudo cap, or they definitely were going to be capitalist, but it would have become more like France's weird socialist capitalist system, right? They probably would have gone more that way, but they were never going to go communist. He just wanted to nationalize oil production because French, English, and American oil exploration companies were over there and trying to trying to own the oil production.
To liberate the oil. That's what we say.
I don't think they were liberating. I think they literally just wanted to buy it. At that point, it was just a business decision, and they didn't need to liberate it, right? Mm-hmm. But in the CIA's view, that was just a little too close to communism, and so he had to catch a bullet.
Yep. So it goes. You can't change systems like that. If we see somebody, they seem kind of communist, you just got to kill them. That's how the world is. That's how since caveman times.
Well, in fairness, it's kind of what happened in Cuba. So,
yeah, we can't let them. We can't let them do that.
Okay, Cuba. We were like, Cuba will turn communist, and Cuba overnight became communist.
Mm-hmm. But I mean, so isn't that kind of like a cautionary tale that it's like we topple this functioning nation because we don't like their ideology, because we think that maybe they might be turning a little bit communist, whether that's even accurate or not. And then it creates a whole mess. And then we actually have to deal with some aftermath of that. Maybe we should stop toppling regimes. Maybe that's like one takeaway. What do you think about that?
I think the CIA should stay out of it.
Yeah, I mean, what do you think about going
to
war with Iran right now?
As long as we're just kind of bouncing from topic to topic. So you understand why Kennedy, JFK had to he had to be taken out. The biggest reason.
Sure.
He was going to put the CIA back under the Department of Defense. They weren't going to be their own agency anymore. They were going to go back to being a military agency answerable to the Joint Chiefs of Staff, which is what they were. Originally, they were the OSS, and then they were pulled out, became the Central Intelligence Agency. And Kennedy was like, Kennedy looked at them and was like, and I think it was right after they did this assassination. I don't know that there was like a presidential order or plan for that. I think the CIA largely at that time was just kind of doing whatever the fuck they wanted to, wherever they wanted to do it. And Kennedy's like, yeah, I don't like this. We need to put them back under, under the military. Mm-hmm. And Johnson at the time, who was a huge, I don't want to say conspiracy theorist. He was a huge anti-communist, and he saw commies everywhere. And
some people have that gift, Yeah, they look around and they see their neighbor and they say, "I think he's a communist. I'm going to call him." Yeah,
damn commies.
They just have that gift.
And so, Johnson was a huge fan of the CIA, and so there's a lot of speculation that that's why the Kennedy assassination happened the way it did. Hmm. Well, I mean, with the stuff that's been released, there's more evidence that that's what happened. And I would be really happy. Honestly, I'd be super happy if we got rid of the FBI, the CIA, the NSA, the DSA, the DIA, basically all of the 3-letter alphabet agencies, all of them. The FDA, FAA.
I'm with you on some of those. I'm in huge agreement with some of those and disagreement with some of those. So,
all of the alphabet agencies.
I mean, so things like FBI, things like FBI actually do seem like pretty effective professional.
They were very effective a few decades ago. The problem is that now we have computers, and now state police, local police, they all talk to each other instantly. And that you understand
that very effectively. Like
the justification for the FBI's existence was as a national police force to have all of this information and be able to cross state lines as needed to go after criminals who would just go
and to have the resources. Somebody who's doing wire fraud over state lines. Some of these things are tough to catch, or some kind of human trafficking that's like cross state line. Those things are not always something a local police force or a state police force has, like the resources or the intelligence. You need some heavy hitters there sometimes to really take those people in.
I don't believe their record in the last 20 years has amounted to enough to justify their existence.
I mean, what's like their,
Ruby Ridge
rate dropped, or has their
Yeah, Ruby Ridge.
Win pretty much every case.
Well, yes, but that's because they only prosecute cases they can win. I actually
exactly.
know a guy. I actually know a guy who 100% was guilty, but the FBI could not prove it, and they did not prosecute.
So they didn't even go after it. Yep.
Yeah, they don't even go after it.
Which honestly, that's the kind of policing that I think everybody should be in favor of. It's like if you have an unbelievably strong case, there's very strong evidence. It's like they
probably could have got a conviction, but they don't want to risk it. They just don't want to risk it.
Yeah. No. I mean, I think that's a good thing. And something like the FDA, I think that's very, FDA, EPA, you want like just basic safety of your environment. You don't want to be eating food that has heavy metals in it.
I just don't. The problem is if the FDA did their job, I would agree with you, but I don't agree with it. I don't think federal agencies are able to do I don't think federal agencies are good enough at their job to be useful. They just aren't.
Okay, here's one that I'm very passionate about because this is my life. This is my livelihood. NIH, cancer trials for cancer patients being cut, cures that will never be released, experiments that are simply destroyed.
Okay, give me one second. Let me read this. $4.99 comes in from Buddha Customs, just showing the channel some love, not one step back. I agree with you. Absolutely love you, man. Hey, so you know what? The National Institute of Health does the same thing as the FDA. Does the same thing as
what do you mean?
Well, they're food and drug. I mean, they're FDA does drugs. That's.
But they're not the same at all. I mean, the FDA regulates and is the party opposite companies that are developing drugs, that makes them fill out a lot of paperwork and does a lot of oversight to make sure that those drugs are actually being demonstrated to do what they're supposed to do, that they're actually safe, that they're actually efficacious. The NIH, on the other hand, gives out grants to
it's not really an agency
and to produce drugs.
It doesn't have any enforcement capabilities or anything like that. It's not really an agency.
Which?
The NIH.
NIH?
Yeah. Not really an agency.
I don't know. I don't care.
Right. So when I talk about agencies, I talk about things like the FDA, right? Who is capricious in how they certify drugs and medical treatments and things like that. And this all stems back to and I can never remember it because I'm not a doctor. It's the American Medical Association, AMA. So you understand that oh man, this is too long a conversation to have right now. The reason healthcare prices soared is because they got rid of these of health insurance lodges and things like that. Healthcare lodges were group medical plans where a group of people would get together and they'd hire a doctor to come in once a month and pay that guy a rate. And if they only needed a nurse, they could do that. And the AMA did not like that. So they colluded with the insurance and the FDA to make sure that the way doctors are licensed changed, and it's done nothing but drive up the cost of medical care while not necessarily providing a higher standard of health care. And then the way that they certify procedures and that sort of thing and drugs in this country is ridiculous. I have a friend of mine who needed a back procedure, and in this country, it's still against the law to do it. Like, you can't have that procedure done. He went to Germany on vacation and had the procedure done at a much lower cost.
Yeah,
and they did it, and now he can actually he was able to go before that.
Germany not so shitty now, huh?
Well, I didn't say. I mean, he said it was a relatively shitty country, but and I don't agree
But
with
they did allow him to walk again.
They did allow that. They did allow it.
That's one good thing. But
well, I think that.
pretty
Well,
good.
and well, I'll give you another one. So I have a friend of mine who's he's actually I'm an acquaintance, not a friend.
Mhm.
He's actually a pretty famous dude. He got blown up over in one of the desert wars. A lot of burn injury, lost both legs. A lot of damage. This guy.
Yep.
He didn't die. He requires, because of his burn injuries were so severe, he requires stem cell therapy about every 6 months. For the longest time, he couldn't even get it in the U.S. He goes to, I believe he was going to Mexico. He might be going to Colombia now, but I think he still goes to Mexico to get it. I don't know. Haven't asked him. It was ridiculously low cost. The way that they do the way they harvest the stem cells is shocking, and I'll tell you about that in a minute. But and it's so much cheaper. He can now get the procedure done here in the United States, but he can't get it as often, and it costs way more.
Yep. Those are big issues with the American insurance and medical system.
Yeah,
right. So in places like Canada or the UK or Scandinavian countries or France or Germany or Spain,
it's all the AMA and the FDA. It's all the AMA and FDA. They're evil organizations. But anyway,
no. Wait. You can't gloss over all of that. What do those countries have that we don't have? They have some kind of socialized medical or insurance system. This is why
that has nothing to do with the ability to get a procedure. That the procedure is, if the procedure is banned here, it's because there's some reason that the FDA doesn't want it to happen. There's no need for with the amount of money that Americans make, with the amount of money that Americans make, even minimum wage Americans, to be honest with you, if we had the same medical cost that we did back when these healthcare lodges and that sort of thing were in effect, and companies were able to actually hire doctors directly, and the licensing was different, and all of that, we wouldn't. The problem is not in that we don't have socialized healthcare. It's the insurance.
It absolutely is.
It's the insurance industry. It's the the cost of drugs themselves. Okay, let me ask you something. Why do we pay $60 for a drug that everywhere else in the country, in the world, is like $1? I can go to China right now, walk into a drugstore.
I can tell you
regular drugstore and buy amoxicillin caplets for like $5.
Yep, I can tell you why.
Why?
Because the governments in those nations have capped the costs.
No, they have not. They have not. That's exactly wrong. Literally, China is one of the most capitalist countries in the world. They're actually privatizing. They're actually privatizing more and more healthcare.
Okay.
They're more and more healthcare is becoming privatized. They started with stuff that wouldn't kill you, like dentistry.
Sure. I mean, they have like a newer kind of middle class.
Yeah,
so
one of my extended
afford private insurance.
Yeah, so one of my extended family members on my wife's side he owns a dental chain in China, and he was one of the very first that actually opened as a private 100% private dentistry in China. The next step was, I don't know if they've done it yet, because this was many years ago, and I don't know if they've done it. I don't know. Maybe they canceled it. I don't know. But the next step was emergency response, ambulances, that sort of thing, EMTs. They were going to privatize those, and no longer be socialized. It was no longer, so
too bad. Yeah.
And so, no, I reject your claim that it's because they have socialized medicine. What they have is they don't have a massive regulatory agency and insurance companies that literally require drugs to cost so much. Literally, in America, if you want to make $1 billion, all you need to do is invent the next aspirin and patent it.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, you would make more than $1 billion. I mean,
all you got to do is invent the next thing and get it through trials. And that's one of the reasons why in this country, there are drugs that we use in this country that are illegal in other countries because they literally say may cause side effects unknown. They don't have any idea. We don't understand how this works. What do you mean? Zoloft, I think it was Zoloft was one, or that literally was like, they don't know what it does. They don't even know how it works in the brain. They just know that it works.
So this is a pretty common kind of drug.
I know. I understand it's boilerplate. I understand it's boilerplate.
No. There's a number of drugs that work very well, but we don't understand the mechanism of action. So we don't understand what's happening in the body that's causing them to have this effect.
Right.
We know what effects they have. We don't understand
why. You can guess at the effects it has on most people. You have an idea of how most people are going to respond to it. But look at Ozempic, right? Like Ozempic was a failure is what it was designed for. Now it's a weight loss drug.
Sure. Yeah, it happens. Repurposing. But I'm not aware that that's a thing that occurs, that you have a drug that says side effects unknown. I don't.
Yeah, it's mostly in a psych.
I've never heard of something
psychiatry.
There's a number of psychiatric drugs that we don't understand why they have positive effects, but we do understand what positive effects they have and what side effects they have. That's so I would much rather take a drug that I don't know why it works, but it works. I scrape some bark off a tree, my headache goes away. Okay, I don't know why. But if I know that it's not going to kill me and it's having positive effects, I would rather have that and not know why it's working, they know why it's working, but maybe it'll kill me, right? That's a deal you would take, right?
But and again, we can even if we say that, even if we take away the prescription drugs, why is amoxicillin not an over-the-counter drug in the United States of America? It is in almost every other country.
I'm not aware specifically. I think with some like antibiotics, they want to control a little bit how much.
Well, they want to control the pricing.
These, there are issues with taking antibiotics willy-nilly.
Sure.
In terms of like individual health and in terms of creating superbugs.
Name a drug that there isn't. Aspirin. If you take too much aspirin, you will die.
No. Totally different situation. If I take too much aspirin, it's never going to kill you, right? Right? If there's no amount of Tylenol that I'm going to consume.
Wrong.
That's going to.
You're wrong.
Oh, okay.
There's actually a case recently in Nashville where
maybe if I'm driving or something.
It was in Nashville where this girl took a massive amount of. I think it was. I'm 90% sure it was aspirin, and oh wait, hang on. I think it was aspirin, and it destroyed her liver, and she ended up dying.
Yes.
Yeah, she ended up dying. She killed her. Yeah. She massively.
Something to be careful of. Yeah.
Yeah, she took a massive amount of aspirin, basically trying to simulate a suicide. Like took a whole bottle or something. Yeah. And it destroyed. Yeah, it was her liver and kidneys, and she died in like 5 days later. Like it literally killed her. So you're wrong. It literally can kill you.
There's no amount that I can take that can kill you, right?
Okay.
Is that correct? Right.
Right.
But if enough people take enough antibiotics, they can create bacteria that will be evolved to be resistant to those antibiotics. And then when I get sick, I actually got an antibiotic resistant bacteria. This is like last year. It was like on my leg. Maybe from Taekwondo, you're on like a sweaty mat, lots of people exercising on, and I had this like infection on my leg. The first line antibiotics didn't work, and then I went for the next one. It was really scary because it's like, you think, okay, well, hopefully the next one works.
But
somebody's got to be the first person
that
the second line doesn't work for, the third line doesn't work for.
But I mean, literally every other country in the world. Like I have friends of mine. I've not been to Cancun, but I've had friends of mine who've gone down there, and they're like, yeah, I can buy amoxicillin or anything, like right off the, just in a drugstore. And I was in Canada a couple of years ago. Walk into a drugstore. It wasn't even a drugstore. I think it was like their version of Walgreens, right? I forget what it was called, but and there was all kinds of antibiotics and things that I need a prescription for here, and I can buy off the shelf there.
Sure.
And that is how that's one of the reasons why all of this stuff costs so much here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking up like amoxicillin specifically, and it looks like it's basically those things that I kind of suspected, which is that it's if you take it for the wrong things, it's not going to be effective, and it can be. It's not like insanely harmful. Like you take too much aspirin, you die. You take too much amoxicillin, it'll destroy your gut flora, and you'll have like a really bad couple of weeks on the toilet. But if enough people take too much, you can create superbugs. So I think that's the reason why it's kind of controlled in the US. But every European country, basically, the UK has a socialized medical system. And like every European country, basically, and Canada have a social welfare, universal healthcare system. You pay taxes, and your insurance is cheaper than it is here. We don't pay taxes toward our insurance. We pay for it privately, and it costs a lot more, right? Because who's pocketing that money? The insurance companies are getting. But
that doesn't address.
And what do they invest that money in? They invest that money in building call centers of people to look over the claims and find a reason to deny it. So it's costing more money to deny claims.
Well, okay,
these insurance companies.
I hate the insurance companies
to deny
too, but
pre-existing conditions until Obamacare stopped them.
I understand.
Stopped them.
I understand socialized healthcare. I've been the victim of it once before, but when we're talking about medications. You can't explain to me how a shopkeeper in China or Cancun or Canada land or UK or Germany or France or any of these places in the world, why I can walk in and cheaper than I can buy it here.
Yep.
You can't explain that with socialized medicine because nobody's subsidizing the people making the medicines. Nobody is controlling that cost. Nobody's paying the shopkeeper to keep that on the shelf. There's no social somebody giving him that money. So I understand all of your points about socialized medicine, and I would agree that in some cases that could work, right? I mean, I went to China, right? I was in China. I got a really bad infection, right? Like I flu. It was kind of like the flu, but it was a chest infection, right?
Oof. Yeah.
So, and this is my experience with socialized healthcare, and this is why I will never endorse. There's no possible way I could ever endorse socialized healthcare.
Okay. Yeah. Lay it on me.
I went to the local clinic. It's free. It's literally
already sounds terrible. First of all, yeah.
Literally looks like a former military, like what you would expect a Soviet era military base to look like.
Very brutalist architecture, concrete.
Brutal architecture, because a lot of this stuff.
I actually really like that style.
In China, Beijing, they've been tearing all this stuff down over the past 30 years in Beijing as it wears out. They've been getting rid of all the buildings the Russians built, and I use that term. It's very loosest because it's just concrete block and green paint. And so we go in there, and they take my temperature. I don't speak Chinese. My I'm telling my wife what's going on, but she's kind of browbeat by her mom a little bit, and her mom is trying to, kind of orchestrating this nonsense. So I'm at the mercy of a doctor that doesn't speak English. I can't explain what's going on, and so they give me an IV of some sort of antibiotic in my hand. Okay, and it does nothing. I mean, I felt better for a little while. That was it. Right. The next day, same deal. Go back to the same one, different doctor. And same exact thing. They just gave me more. Okay. Went to another facility. Same thing. IV in the hand. I feel better for like 7 or 8 hours. Maybe a little longer. Next morning, it's back. Back. Nose is running, coughing. You can feel the chest congestion going on. So finally, I'm like, I'm not going back to one of these facilities. Right? I'm not, because obviously this is not healthcare. They're just either guessing, they don't care, they don't know. Right? And this is what socialized healthcare gets you: is you get people who really aren't doctors. Because all the people who have actual healthcare skill fled the country long ago, where they can make money. Hold on. I'm not done. Hold on. I'm not done.
I really want to hear your story, but sometimes you say stuff that's just like, that's not.
You think I'm kidding?
Yeah, it's like,
we have one of the best eye surgeons in the world here in Nashville, and he won't do. And he's like, we actually asked him one time. We're like, why aren't you in Korea or Nashville or China? And he's like, because I can't make any money there. There's no money to be made.
Sure. Yep. That could be true.
There's no money there. Why would he do that?
You also don't have like hundreds of thousands of dollars of medical debt. So
he does.
He
went to school here. I think China paid for it, but
exactly. That's what I'm talking about. Here you get a huge amount of medical debt with the promise that I have a friend who's a doctor. You get a huge amount of debt.
Oh yeah.
From going to medical school here, and then you have the promise of maybe being able to make, if you go into kind of
the medical profession has fucked itself royally. I can't wait for it to burn to the ground. It's going to be awesome. But I'm not done with my story.
Yeah.
So I finally have had enough. Like first of all, I got to get on a plane. I've already extended my stay a week, and I need to get on a plane. My wife and I need to get back. We got things to do. We got shopped around. And so I was not going back to one of these places. So they took me to the hospital where the ambassadors and the ambassadors' families all go.
Sounds nice. Yeah.
Because they all speak English, and it looks like a hospital.
Cool. Yeah.
And that guy literally looks at me, says, talks to me for a few minutes. I tell him what's going on, and he's like, you've got a chest infection. It's gotten a little worse than it should. The other, all these other treatments, all they've done is like kind of hold it at bay. I got what you need. And I'm like, well, I need to fly like in like 2 or 3 days. And he's like, no problem. He gave me he wrote me a prescription for 3 pills, which I'm assuming was like some super antibiotic. The first one killed everything. Like I felt like Superman the next day, and I only took the other 2 because he told me to. No temperature, everything. It was like nuked instantly.
Yeah.
But I had to pay. I had to pay for that doctor. And I will gladly pay money for a doctor that knows what the fuck they're doing.
Sure. Yeah.
All the free doctors did was not make it any better. And the third guy, which I paid for gladly, I literally was like, take my money.
Yeah.
We're good. Yeah.
It's good to have money.
It's good to have money. It is.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So you will never, there's no possible way that, I don't care what excuses that are thrown out. There's no way you will ever convince me that socialized healthcare is anything but the worst possible thing for a society. You'll never convince me of anything else.
I believe you. I won't try to. and you've got money, you can fly all over the world, buy whatever doctors you need.
Right. And that's what we find
like,
with other,
you know,
yeah,
you're
that's
probably
what
gonna
we
be
find
good
with
no matter
other
what.
people, right? That's what we truly find is in these other countries like Germany, like England, like to a lesser degree France. I think France still has some privatized healthcare in country, but
yeah, I mean, just because you have like a nationalized healthcare doesn't mean that you can't have private supplemental insurance, right? And there's I think most of those places do. I don't think there's a lot of countries that have like outlawed private insurance. I think most places there's like a kind of baseline.
Well, I would outlaw like private universal. Insurance. So if I were king, I'm not. If I were, I would outlaw private insurance.
Okay.
I would outlaw private insurance. Either you hurt yourself so badly that the choice is you die or you get health care, and some organization, a church, you know, a fund set up by
you make like a GoFundMe. That's how we should deal with medical.
A fund set up by a billionaire somewhere, or
maybe Elon Musk will. I mean, probably not. He probably won't, right?
How much do you give to charity? How much do you give to charity?
I don't share the exact amount, but
you do. You do, right? I find that most people give to charity, whether they not maybe you guys that can't really afford it, but I've watched people who didn't have $100 in the bank account and had $200 worth of bills due. I've watched them give away old clothes, or that were still good, or volunteer in that to feed people or run meals on holidays.
The wealthier you get, the less you give. That's pretty interesting.
Huh?
The wealthier you get, the less you give, right? So Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah, but they all give billions of dollars away.
Elon Musk was asked. He asked, what was it like? Not USDA. What was It was like one of these massive kind of like hunger focused organizations. He said like, okay, give me a plan for curing world hunger. And I'll do it. And they said, here's how much it would cost. Here's a plan, whatever. And then he said, okay, well, nah, I'm not going to do it. I don't feel like it. Right. These people are sick. Right. So the idea that we're just going to rely on billionaires.
But why would you
give away their money?
Hold on. How much money do you think Elon Musk donates every year?
You could find out the amount, but it's not going to be meaningful relative to his wealth, and it's going to be.
But that's irrelevant.
And it's going to be.
All right, hold on. So if a guy has $100 billion, and he donates $1 million to charity, $1 million is still a significant amount to charity.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like that's not nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And I don't know how much but I mean, so that's very interesting phrasing that he used relative to his wealth.
Mm-hmm.
So you think he should do 20% of his wealth, 10%, 5%? What do you think?
I mean, I think he should just, be taxed at 90%, like we used to have in America.
Well, that's come on.
And then we should just 90% fund social programs.
People in the entire country at that point.
And Elon Musk would be one of them as the
he probably wouldn't, because he has enough businesses and he has enough. He probably would not. This is a mistake that I often hear, is that you understand that J.D. Rockefeller, as the richest man in the world, the first legit billionaire, who was, by the way, a billionaire in cash, wasn't taxed at 90%.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's a progressive tax. Obviously, it's a little bit different because his wealth is in stocks, and it's in the increase in the value of those stocks. So we need kind of like a new conception, and we need a.
But again, I go back to
obviously it's not the same kind of income.
Even J.D. Rockefeller, who was at the time, he was subject. I don't think that it was 90% at that point in time. I think it had reduced down to like 65 or 70%. Doesn't matter. We could check the dates. It's irrelevant. He he was not
It's like
taxed
79%. It was
Yeah, I
like
think
it was like 79%. Yeah.
Yeah, but even he never paid that. And when he sold
Did he not?
No, when he sold Standard Oil for over $1 billion, which by the way is why we believe dead dinosaurs are where oil comes from. Like, because he was trying to sell Standard Oil, and at that point in time, nobody thought oil was a big deal. It wasn't worth anything because you just pump it out of the ground.
He said it's dinosaurs. It's cool.
But no, if it's a consumable subject that has a finite end, now it's worth something. So he literally paid scientists. He paid for a scientific expo in Paris, France, to find scientists who would say that, to come up with a reason why oil was a limited resource.
Sure.
And they came up with dead dinosaurs. And he put it in. Rockefeller was fucking amazing. I mean, honestly, I can't hate the guy. Because he was brilliant. Him and his robber baron buddies literally formed the Department of Education to first produce workers for their factories, and second, to also to propagandize the things that they wanted people to believe, like dinosaurs are the source of oil. It's crazy, right? It's nuts.
I mean, they surely are a little bit, but it's mostly plants, right? It's mostly like
well, it's microbes. In theory, it's microbes that convert, it converts oil, and it converts it's a process and we can simulate the process. It's a process where plant matter or biological biomass is changed into a carbon like goo, I guess, or shale or whatever. But it's not the interesting thing is it's not a non-renewable resource, near as I can tell, and the science on it is just ridiculous right now. And if you publish a paper,
basically non-renewable. I mean, you can get like biofuels. You can convert corn into fuel.
Well, no, because the Earth is still under pressure, and there's still biomass being pushed into the soil.
I think it takes a very long time.
I don't think it does, and I think that there's no research that proves to us that it takes a long time. And I say that because back in the day there was and I say back in the day, like somewhere in the 70s or 80s, they had these Russian oil wells, I guess, in like Siberia or wherever they have oil in Russia. I don't fucking know. And they went dry. And these were supposed to be massive reservoirs, right? But they went dry, pumped out all the oil. Okay, no problem. They came back in the late 90s, I think, or maybe early 2000s. And guess what? There was oil again. And not just a little bit. It's not like they just missed some. Yeah. It was like a lot. And
But you think plants today are just like microbes somewhere, or just
I don't know. I'm
oil. It's not like they have just like some of the oil and then it kind of like seeps back in.
I think it's the combination of the pressure and the pressure, the heat, and the and whatever biomass is down there.
Yeah.
And however it turns over, right? I don't really know.
I mean, we can. There'll always be, we by definition will never get all the oil that there is, because that's, it's hard to get. And at some point it becomes just, not profitable to go, 1 liter of oil somewhere. You're never going to drill for that. Right. With fracking, we can get oil in new ways. So there's new technologies that can come along and allow us to extract more of the oil that there is. But I mean,
well, again, we can
where we should get our oil, or where we should get our energy. I mean,
well, I don't see a problem with getting energy from oil. I see a bigger problem with getting solar energy. I think solar
and wind are cheaper, and they're less they're less polluting. They contribute.
They're not less polluting. That's garbage science. Come on, you can't be that bad. Come on, you're a scientist. You can't believe that shit. Okay, they have how many massive windmill blades they have to bury outside of fucking Montana before you go, okay, this is a bad thing.
I mean, how much carbon does each of those blades represent relative to the
relevant of carbon? It's still we're burying them. We cannot even destroy them safely, apparently.
Yeah, I mean, there's no way people are trying to recycle
and we're burying them in the earth. That's bad. Okay, I've driven by the solar farm between Vegas and Bakersfield.
Mm-hmm.
It is ridiculous the amount of environmental damage that stupid thing is causing. I'm not saying that solar can't be done in a relatively safe way, but I disagree with the idea that solar is less environmental impact. What the solar panels break, and the most, not all, of the silicates and oxides that are used to make those panels are toxic as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I don't see any reason. I mean, this is just bad. It's bad science. My opinion is that it's interesting science, but it's not good science, and it borders on bad science. It's a net negative effect on society overall, and it doesn't increase energy production enough to be warranted. Now, in specific cases like off-grid houses, boats, I could, like I have if I don't have one, I have a friend who has a boat with a bunch of solar panels on it because he travels the world. And that's, one of the three, he has 3 ways of generating electricity on the boat. He has a water, hydro, what do they call it? A hydrodynamic wheel or some bullshit that that generates power when he's sailing. It adds drag. Yeah, no, hydrofoil is what boat comes up on. But anyway, it doesn't. It is basically just this thing. It sticks down in the water, and as you move, the water turns it, and it cranks out power. It's not particularly efficient. It does make you sail slower, but
you get something. You get something. Yeah, you can charge your phone. Probably you can.
Yeah. He has solar panels on the roof of the cabin, which are, unfortunately, I don't think he's found a way not to have them get damaged. So he just gets the toughest ones he can, and when he just counts on them at some point being damaged. And he has the most consistent is he does have a series of windmills that actually produce power, and that's the most consistent. And because there's usually wind somewhere.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I was able to find, this paper looking at, or just this article looking at kind of carbon dioxide emissions from different sources. I can try to find others to.
I mean, carbon dioxide is helpful. It increases greenery. We have more trees, which means we have more air, which is good since humans. We run off a lot of things, and air is a very important one, right? And so I don't have a problem with now carbon monoxide, which is also produced, not as good, but carbon dioxide don't really have a problem with that.
I mean, I think it's like, if you got a headache, taking 1 aspirin is good. If you take 100 aspirin, maybe it's not so good for you. Is it possible there's like an amount of CO2 that might create kind of like a greenhouse effect and increase the that's a theory that they've not been able to prove, and I don't know, because it's technically not producing carbon dioxide, because you produce carbon dioxide by burning it. I mean, anything, right? Like wood, wood, oil, coal, natural gas.
And years ago there was a scientist in the 80s or 90s. And this was when I was in college, and I was still, I don't know if I told you this, but I started my career in college. I was a hard scientist. So I did chemistry. I was my major was actually environmental science and technology. That was actually what I was studying. Anyway, there was this guy who was his focus was on the lack of forest fires, and how that has and how humans, as we become more technologically advanced and more able to prevent natural disasters like specifically forest fires, and how that may have shaped the world. Also, the change to cleaner burning energies like propane, gasoline, that kerosene, that kind of thing.
Definitely better than coal.
From wood and coal. Coal can be really good, but that was outside the scope of this. And what he found is that as far as our air quality, it's never been this good as it is right now. With all the cars, with all the trains, with all the planes, with everything going on, with the air quality has never been better. The question then is, without the natural effect of forest fires and the inability to combat those forest fires, and I mean, you could have an entire like state burn, right? Like before it would burn out, right? So what effect has that had on the environment? Well, we can see that in the American Dust Bowl in the 1920s, right? Once we were able to prevent forest fires, and we were able to use our various means of construction, dams, putting grass where there wasn't grass before, and controlling soil erosion, we don't have a dust bowl in the United States anymore at all. And yet we did. And the reason we did is because of those things. So it's a very interesting thing that the rhetoric doesn't match the reality. Our air quality is clean. I'm
not talking about air quality. Like what are the
idea of greenhouse gases and the earth warming to boiling also isn't backed up, right? Like,
no, I don't think anyone says boiling.
Well, but okay, so we're I'd have to check, but I seem to recall that we're in a cooling effect now overall over the past 50 years. Are we not? Haven't we dropped like something like 1 degree, 2 degrees average temperature over the last 20 years? Maybe 50, I don't know.
Let's see.
We're in a cooling trend. Because global warming isn't hoax. I mean, it just is.
Yeah, it's warmed by about, this is in centigrade, about 0.2 C, or here's Fahrenheit, about 0.35 Fahrenheit risen per decade. This rate is more than 3 times as fast as the warming trend observed since 1850. This is kind of like a. Would you consider yourself a conservative? Is that like a sentiment or a? Say that again.
Constitutional conservative, yeah.
Mm-hmm. And would you say
mostly I look at things from a very logical and scientific perspective, right? So I mean, and that's why when a lot of the things that you throw at me, I'm especially if I. It's not just a matter of opinion, but the facts don't necessarily support it. And it's mostly rhetoric. I do call it bad science because it is bad science. And I'm one of those that I'll admit, like I don't remember. I haven't thought about this stuff in a couple of years to be on this level, to be honest with you.
For sure.
But it's,
no, I'm just thinking just to step back to like a very high level. Like, would you agree with the sentiment? Like we shouldn't mess around with things at like a really deep level that we don't understand. The kind of like
what we do all the time. We dam rivers to generate power. We humans, Americans, literally got rid of the dust bowl that used to be Kansas from St. Louis to Colorado was a dust bowl. Nothing grew there. Like it was literally American
that,
dust bowl. And
that was because of over farming, right?
No,
That
it was
wasn't
not.
like a natural.
No, it wasn't because of over. It was because of forest fires and defoliation and things like that. That nobody could farm. Nobody started to farm there. They couldn't farm there. It was that's why people would. That was the wastelands that they crossed on their way to California.
I mean that was human. That was human caused. It was a combination of natural factors.
I don't think it was, because we're literally talking about the 1920s.
Yeah, they had farming in the 1920s.
They didn't have over farming in the 1920s.
Well, why do you think they didn't have over farming in the 1920s?
They
were these like, caveman, ooga booga.
What farms are you talking about?
They didn't have John Deere tractors.
Most of those were, there weren't any John Deere tractors. They didn't.
Yeah, so
there was what over farming are you talking about? Most of that land was they were running cattle on if they could eat there, if they could have enough grass to do it.
Destruction of natural topsoil by settlers in the region is what it's looking like. 1936, 1939 to 40. Yeah, there's a lot of writing about it. Yeah, rich soil, agricultural output. Yeah, so they were trying to apply like European style farming to this much drier region.
Yeah,
so it was topsoil.
Yeah, and between the winds and the tornadoes and the forest fires and everything else,
it's
a dust bowl.
So you're not. This is useful for me because I would really like to have like a kind of nuanced, specific understanding of, I guess you'd say, like the other side of the aisle. I don't know. I grew up in like a more liberal area, didn't have as many.
I mean, I can tell you're more liberal. You have I don't know if that's pink, but whatever color.
It's some kind of red. I don't know. Right, but I would like to really understand in like a nuanced way kind of where people are coming from. And I have this kind of stereotype of all conservatives that they're kind of like, oh, well, we don't want to look before we leap too much. We want to be careful, keep up kind of tradition, and like kind of be aware of what we're moving toward before we make any big moves. But it sounds like, maybe of some kind of relation to that, but not as much as I kind of assumed, which is that you're saying, no, we can make big moves. We don't have to know, every downstream consequence of everything that we do. We can kind of like look at what's in front of us, make decisions, and maybe make, take some big actions to get us where we think that we, need to go next. When we don't have to, it's okay to change things. We don't have to, understand everything about what we're altering. Is that,
yeah?
Am I starting to hone in at all, or?
So I think what you basically miss out on, as the problem with the leftists is they just basically swallow whatever they're told. If they're told there's global warming, the hole in the ozone layer, they actually had to change the term global warming to climate change because we were on a cooling trend, and it just didn't. The rhetoric didn't fit, right? And so they, and I've watched all this when I was in college, my freshman and sophomore years, especially because I was still in the hard science departments. The number of complete fucking morons that would argue with professors about science, about shit we could prove, it drove me to quit the program. I was like, you know what? I cannot work in an industry where this is going to be the norm, where the science part of environmental science and technology was left out, right? Like you can't talk to me about, you can't tell me while you will acknowledge the fact that we can make oil. It's not even a super hard process. And not only can we make oil, we can make oil out of things that oil was never meant to be made out of, like algae, like corn, right? Like corn husk, right? We can make, we can, and even beyond that, we can now chemically synthesize all of the compounds in oil and make it better than oil. It will burn cleaner. It will, and it's, you know, it's cheaper to make and all of these things. So it's insanity to me to cling to the idea that oil came from dead dinosaurs. It's insanity to me to, and a lot of denial to just keep claiming to these things that have been proven, if not false, to be, hey, we need to look deeper into these things. We can't just shout this rhetoric and run around with signs saying, you know, save the planet, when the planet doesn't really need saving. Right?
Yeah. No, I agree. I'm not worried about the planet. I'm worried about like humans and stuff. You know, I'm worried about the things living on. You know, I don't have a kind of like general, the Earth. I'm worried about me living on the Earth, my family living on the Earth, other people living on the Earth. That's the kind of thing that I
my problem with the left, you know, one of my bigger problems with the left, and you tease this line quite a bit.
You can say it, you know.
You don't like really jump over the line, but you tease the line quite a bit. Is that it's always about money. We just haven't spent enough money yet. It's always about that citizens haven't done enough. We need to do more. And the idea that, hey, you know what, guys, we're cool on this global warming. Just go home, sit back, crack a beer, be cool, and enjoy a football game. That's never the leftist point of view. There's always another fucking emergency that we have to solve that they made up.
It is exhausting.
It's usually made up. And I'm like, why are you so damn unhappy? What is wrong with you? What is wrong with the average leftist that they look around for problems that don't even exist? When problems don't exist, they will make them up. Why? I don't understand that. You know, as a conservative, I have a very focused cone of
Yep.
Here, right?
Yep.
I want my family to be safe. I want my country to be safe. I like to put food on the table, and I'd like a little bit of money in my pocket. And I'd like those things for everyone, right? And I don't need to rob from you. I know in my heart that I don't need to rob from you to make that happen for someone else. I can teach someone how to work harder. I can give someone a job. I can pay someone a salary. I can do things myself. I don't need an agency. Okay. I don't need the government. I don't need those guys. I need you know what? At this point, the only thing I need the United States government for is to keep invaders off of my border and to print money, actual cash money, not, you know, so I have some money. Right. And I would love it if we just got rid of all digital currency. I would love that. I'd be like, hey, we're back on a cash system. Like you know, that's the way it is. I mean, obviously that's not going to happen, but that's as simplistic as I make it. And I'm a happy guy. Like I tend to be fairly successful in the things that I pursue. And this is my other problem with leftists is they fail at things so much, and then they don't blame their failures on themselves. It's never their fucking fault. It's always, they didn't get the grant. They didn't do this. Somebody help, you know, this guy just doesn't like me, or, well, those fucking conservatives with their bullshit, you know, the man's holding me down. But you are the man. The leftist, you are the man. I mean, not you personally, but you are the man, right? Like when it's insanity to me to watch these rabid leftists come out and rail against the government and rail against the man when that's who you are. That person, you are the exact person. Like, why is that? I've never understood it. And I've asked a lot of leftists. I'm like, why is that? I'm not like that. That's it. I'm not like that. Well, but all of your buddies are, right? Maybe not you. I don't know. You seem
No, that's fine.
pretty balanced. You seem pretty balanced. Maybe you are though. Maybe tomorrow you're going to be down. Well, you're in New York, I think, or somewhere up cold and north. So probably not in a dress, but you'll be out in a snow bunny outfit with your nails done and rouge on and yelling at for gay rights. I don't know. It could be. I don't know.
I'll be partying for gay rights. Don't have to yell about it. I'll be dancing for gay rights.
Again, I don't know. I don't know you well enough. But that's and by and large, my impression is held true. I do understand that there are people that are conservative that do not dig much beyond talking points, but I can make that criticism of every worldview, period. Right? Like, sure. Right? Like, I know a lot of people who are absolutely 100% Christian, believe in God, all of it, but they can't get past talking points because they believe, and that's enough for them. And I'm not even really being super critical of leftists who just believe, and that's enough for them. I'm more critical of the leftists who choose to criticize other people's worldviews and only have talking points. So I don't know if that helps you.
Yeah, no, that's very helpful. I mean, I think you're definitely spot on. A lot of lefties are going out of their way to observe things that they feel are wrong in the world and end up very unhappy about it. That's absolutely accurate. I think it's one of those things in life that you can kind of go whatever way you want. You can be very happy and oblivious to the things that are going on in the world. Just have a beer with your buddies, just chill out, just do what you need to do to kind of get through yourself. And I don't think that that's necessarily wrong.
No, I know a lot of people like that. I know a lot of people who, they have the most rudimentary understanding of politics and anything else in the world, and they're perfectly happy to be that way.
Yep.
And you know what? Probably need more people like that.
Yep.
Less people
and then there's people who are obsessed with being miserable with their eyes glued to everything that is wrong in the world, or that maybe isn't wrong, or but looks wrong. I mean, I think there are genuinely a lot of problems in the world. I think that's something we can most people can probably agree with. I think for me, the kind of ideal way to live is to be trying to. I would say it's three things. I think to me, this is something that I hold as important for myself, but I think it's worth asking people to consider this, but I don't think everybody has to be this way. But to me, it's very important for me to try to understand the world, to try to understand what's going on, to try to understand other viewpoints, and to understand and empathize with problems that other people are having that I'm not having. Somebody who is in a wheelchair because their legs are not functioning and they can't get into their workplace because it doesn't have an elevator, there's no curb cut or no ramp. Even though it's not affecting me, I feel like I do have an obligation to do what I can to try to be informed, and then the next piece is to try to pick some things. You really can't devote yourself to more than one or maybe two things, ever at any given. The world is too large. There's too many things going on that you could ever be trying to make any kind of difference on anything. You'll be very diffuse and split up, and you're not going to be having an impact. So kind of devoting yourself to like one or two things that you can become knowledgeable about and try to make some kind of impact on. And then the other thing is just to like be a good person to people in your life. I think that's a very underrated way of making a good impact in the world. Just your friends having a hard time, you sit down with them and hear what they're going through. You pass somebody on the street, and you give them a smile. Somebody drops something and you pick it up for them. You hold the door for somebody. Like tiny little acts of kindness that kind of show people around you that other people do care about them, even when they feel pretty down. I've heard so many stories about, somebody was going to go home and kill themselves, and then somebody like smiled at them, and then they didn't, and you can never know what kind of impact you might have on somebody's life. Some stranger that you were either nice to, or or you glared at, or you yelled something at them because they cut you off in traffic or whatever. So I try to hold myself to just, when I can, just treat people just person to person as well as possible. And that's something that is very frustrating to me about the modern world, is that so much of the very emotionally charged interactions that we have are with a kind of like anonymized version of somebody. It's like, their name and like a Facebook comment, YouTube comment, Twitch comment, it's just kind of a disembodied, concept of a person, and they're saying something mean, you say something mean back to them. But if we were sitting down together, and especially sitting down together, having a beer, we'd probably get along and we could talk whatever we're talking about in like a very respectful way. To me, that's like one of the most frustrating things right now. And that goes for our political divide. Grats to us that we're able to see things in a very different way and discuss it very respectfully. I think, I hope everybody who's watching can really appreciate how cool that is.
Well, the thing is that these kinds of conversations, to me, I know I'm not going to change your opinion. I can only hope that you just think a little bit, and it just kind of like, you're like, wow, that guy didn't yell at me, so maybe I ought to consider this. I will yell at you. The other thing is that you're relatively intelligent, and you're and you
I like
speak
to think
well.
so.
You speak well. So if someone's interacting with me, I'm going to interact, and I hate to use, because Andrew says this all the time, and I really do. I mirror whatever energy you're going to give me, right? To some degree. Now I will push, I will push a little bit. I can be a little bit dramatic just to kind of feel out what you're going to do. But for the most part, the thing is that I think where you seem like you care too much, I don't care at all. I don't care what your opinion is. I have a limited amount of ability to care.
Mm-hmm.
And all of it is spent taking care of my family. All of it. I don't have any room left over to care about Socrates and your opinions on things. I will talk to you. We can enjoy and we can go back and forth in conversation. But for me to expend the mental energy to try and change your opinion, to browbeat you, to sit here and obsess about you and your opinions and all of that, not in the cards, man.
I think that's probably a lot of why you're able to be so calm and kind of like listen. You're able to listen to me speak. I try to be pretty succinct, but sometimes I go on for a while. But you're able to listen and thoughtfully and respectfully and kind of absorb what I'm saying. That's a pretty special thing to be able to do on the internet.
I have a lot of patience.
Yeah,
I
think that's a huge virtue. I think patience is a very underrated virtue.
I think that people don't understand patience because they've never had to wait before. They've never had to be. They've never sat in the woods or in a field, freezing cold, knowing that there was a deer or a turkey or whatever animal just out of sight, and just you have to sit there and wait and be still and be quiet and not care about anything, not care about being cold, not care about being hungry. Just you have to wait. And I have ultimate patience. I mean, and again, and you get to a point where and I'll give a lot of credit to military school for this. I don't care about my personal condition. If I need to, and we used to joke about, I remember one night we'd been out like all freaking night doing something stupid. And by something stupid, I mean like a focus walk, or we ended up having to, go down to the blue hole and jump in and, or whatever. Something meant to build character. And we were sitting on this concrete porch, and it's fall, so it's not warm, but it's not cold. And the concrete's cold. And the staff was inside just talking. They were having a staff meeting. And I just sat down on the concrete and went to sleep, because there's no point getting mad about it, right? They got to do what they got to do. There was nothing for me to do. I didn't want to talk. I didn't need to talk to anybody. I didn't need to, sit there and bullshit or whine or complain or anything. Just, I went to sleep. And we joked later that when by the time we finished of course I was only there 3 years, but the 4 years in that experience, by the time we finished, the amount of things that could upset me or us was infinitely small, because you just don't care anymore. You don't care if it's dark outside. You don't care if it's cold. You don't care if it's hot. You just don't care, because it doesn't matter. And I think that's one of the things that, especially a lot of leftists, seem to not be able to do, is just be quiet and be patient. So, I don't know. Anyway, well, I actually have to get out of here.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think that, kind of sermon in a nice way on patience. I think that's a good message to leave people with.
Yeah. Yes, Kokoshuko, sleeping on cold concrete is bad for your bones, but you don't know that when you're 17 years old. Everybody, click the link. Go vote for me in the streamer, whatever it is, streamer awards, and because I need to win, dog. I like to win. I got to get out of here. I got to go do stuff. I will not be back tonight. I don't think I'm debating or anything tonight, so I may be on tomorrow. Just keep your notifications on. In the meantime, you guys all be cool and wear glasses if you need them, and go get off my lawn. You guys have been cool.
Take care. Awesome chatting with you, man.